Hello, hello. Welcome to Zelda Speedruns. Today we're bringing you a first round bracket match between Alaszun and dazedcloud of the Crosskeys tournament. Bringing you all the action today is going to be James FNX and Dane. How are you two?
I'm doing fantastic. Dane, how are you doing?
I'm doing great. Excited to see another one of these playoff matches for the Crosskeys round of 16. This will be a game one between these two runners. Alaszun was able to finish 7-1 in the Swiss round, so he did not have to play in the play-in game, just made it into the bracket outright. dazedcloud finished 6-2, so he did have to play in the play-in game, but as you can see, he was able to make his way into the bracket and will now be fighting in the round of 16.
Yeah, this should be a really good matchup. I got to play Alaszun in the Swiss portion of the tournament, and it went about as well as you'd expect for me. Alaszun, one of the top runners in this tournament, and I am on commentary, so that can tell you what we got going on here.
Yeah, absolutely. This will be a nice race here today.
There we go. Sorry about the screen. It was a little broken for a second.
Aren't we all a little broken inside sometimes?
Only sometimes.
We'll get things kicked off here shortly as both the runners are getting ready to go in the race room.
And with that, I will leave you to it. Enjoy the race, everyone.
So, James, what openings do you prefer for Crosskeys? We see a bit of a difference with like the Sank routes and the Hula Hand routes, and even some straight to CAC routes lately.
I prefer trying to figure out where Sanctuary is at, and if it's in Kakariko, then I'll mess around in Kakariko. If it's close to where I can Hula Hand, I'll do that, and then check out what's at Link's house at that point.
Nice. I myself do the Hula Hand route because I just like having that early money, and the Witch's Hat is just so annoying to check otherwise. But it looks like we've got a bit of a difference between these two. dazedcloud starting out in the Sanctuary, whereas Alaszun starting in Link's house. We see the small key to the desert in Link's house, which is a nice item to get before you find any of the desert entrances.
Yeah, that's it isn't a required small key in terms of skill progression, but logically it is required, and it does lock 2 items in desert. So having that right off the start is a nice play, as Alaszun is going to go for this Link's house into a Hula Hand.
And looks like Daze is also going to do a Hula Hand, just going to walk there from Sank instead.
Yeah, with Sanctuary, it's vanilla location. It was a pretty nice setup for that for Daze. A little lucky there. We see Ganon is at the fairy drop.
Very good. We're not going to have to do a castle tower or a Ganon's tower climb just to get to Ganon. We still may have to do them, but not for that reason.
Yeah, it's a bit of a double-edged sword, right? You don't have to worry about defeating one of those 2 dungeons for Ganon, but does mean that those 2 dungeons are going to lock at least 1 item apiece.
Well, you could get lucky and have one of them be useless fairy. But
yeah, that's true. That's true.
Or you can actually get really lucky and have Aghanim, the lumberjack, be uncle, and then Ganon be useless fairy. That's the real dream drop-down layout, because then you don't have to do either. For the item, at least.
That is truly a blessing, as we find the west entrance of Turtle Rock at Witch Hut today.
Yep, so that puts the Chain Chomp chest into logic right away, but there was no way Alaszun was going to farm enough bombs to do that. And then we find Checkerboard Cave with a big key over here in the houses south of the Eastern Palace area. Let's see which one this is. Turtle Rock, okay.
That's smelling a little suspicious already. A very early Turtle Rock big key, and one of the 2 entrances that gets you to the Crystal Roller door. If we find an early Cane of Samaria, that could end up leading to something.
Yeah, and that's so Daze doesn't even know about that Turtle Rock entrance yet. Then we see the book on Lake Hylia Island too, which it's kind of annoying when you see something like small key or book in an invisible location, because you're going to have to grab it, but you don't know if it's actually going to be useful.
Yeah, and of all the visible locations, that's probably the least likely to actually lead to progression. It takes a lot to get that book off of Hylia Island. You're going to need either flippers or to do a fake flipper once you're in the Dark World, plus your Moon Pearl, plus a mirror. So there is a lot of content you have to get through to get to that item.
And Alaszun just showed us that the Uncle dropped down his Kakariko well. We're going to have dazedcloud go over there as well. Both these runners have 2 bombs, so very nice. They'll be able to get all the items in CAC well.
Yeah, and another really nice location here at Hyrule Castle. It's that Spectacle Rock item pickup location. You'll be able to grab that item. I'm sure Alaszun will come back to that in just a moment after getting the Kakariko well stuff. Be able to grab that item and potentially try a Braum jump over to get to the entrance that's out of Logic. Plus, it's a connector to another entrance in Logic.
Yeah, it's really nice when there's a connector in that Hyrule, because when you're opening in the Hyrule Castle, I mean, because when you're opening to do the Uncle drop down. This is kind of the end of the route where you save and quit. But if you've got a connector, you can just check it really quick.
Got a pod small in Kakariko well, along with a hook shot.
Yeah, the hook shot will be really nice just for getting around. If we find our way up to the mountain, that'll give us the East Death Mountain. It also gives you 4 items for free in Hookshot Cave. So the hookshot can come into play in Crosskeys pretty early.
Yeah, and depending on what the stun prize is on these enemies, too, it could end up being a nice tool to farm out cash or bombs early. We'll find out in a moment.
And it looks like the guards are in the bomb drop pack today, which has been pretty nice for these runners able to keep their bombs up in stock.
Yeah, and at 3 hearts, Alaszun is going to give this bomb jump a try. It looks like, I don't know if Daze is up to 3 hearts too from the cave. 20 rupees is just a surprise here in Spectral Rock, but Alaszun is going to give this bomb jump a try.
Yeah, I mean, because worst case scenario, you fall down, and if you're afraid of the mold orms, you can get fairies. So you can't try twice, so all you need is 2 hearts.
Yeah, it does pull it off, so we'll see where this entrance goes. It is, it's in Sphere 0. It's the Gerudo Valley Cave in the desert. We'll walk it out and take a look at Agha's cave.
Yeah, it's not too bad of a location, because now you can knock out Aghanim right away, and then you can go back and check the other drop down on your way. And if it's going to end up being desert useless, because that's just the way that these connectors work out.
Daze with a little extra benefit of RNG here does manage to get that 4-bomb drop out of the guard pack, whereas Alaszun was only able to get single bombs. Did not get deep enough in the pack for that 4 drop, so Daze will have a little bit of a bomb advantage here in the start.
Yeah, those early bombs are really nice. With 2, at least, Alaszun should be okay, while they won't run into something where you just don't have enough bombs to do it. You'd probably run into a shop before then.
Yeah, with this hookshot, the only cave that would be worrisome with only having 2 mobs would be Mini Moldworm Cave, but hookshot takes care of those Moldworms just fine. As the back of Spectacle Rock takes us up to Floating Island. That's a really important connector to keep in mind. That's the only way to get to that item that's on Floating Island once you get a mirror. And also really good access to the east side of Death Mountain also when we get a mirror.
Yeah, absolutely. If you find a mirror, this just gives you so much access.
Just a spike cave, but like I said, look, run just keep that in the back of the mind. It's very quick to get up there from Link's house too. Just a couple transitions to get over to Dark Death Mountain now.
Yeah, so if they find the mirror, then it's really nice because that mirror would open up a bunch of entrances if they were able to get that. It looks like we're going to see a pretty simultaneous trip by both these runners over to Kakariko. They've checked a little bit of different order for stuff, but going to end up in around the same spot.
Another interesting diversion here is dazedcloud's going to head up and take a look at Lumberjack. Get a look at this tree pole. We'll take a look at Lumberjack drop down in the hut, get a couple more entrances. Also take a look at the Lost Woods. Alaszun is just skipping this area entirely and heading straight to Kakariko.
Yeah, sometimes you like to save those north entrances for when you have the glove for that one glove blocked entrance, but who knows when you get a glove, so it's kind of a bit of a risk sometimes. That was Magic Bat.
Yeah, Lumberjack is our Magic Bat today. So Aghanim Tower will lock 1 item if our runners find powder, plus those 2 small keys.
Yeah, I'm actually not too upset when you see Magic Bat there. You like it when it's either a visible item that's garbage or useless fairy or uncle, but at least with Magic Bat, that just adds another item to the things I need to find before I get concerned about beating Aghanim. There's one of those items.
Yeah, that is a very huge find for dazedcloud. Alaszun made a conscious decision to skip Lost Woods. When we find these boots up here at the treasure house in Lost Woods.
Yeah, that's definitely a nice find. And like what I was mentioning, though, that's one of the items you need to get the Aghanim, but you're not caring about that one. You're happy to get the boots. But if you find the boots, the Castle Tower Smalls, the land, and the powder, now you got to start thinking about that item, the Magic Bat. Yeah,
we're a long way away from that. Looks like our Lost Woods drop down is just the Fairy Cave. So that leaves the Lost Woods hideout itself and Lumberjack Ledge, and one more.
We got Thief and Lumberjack. I think those are the only ones, right? We've seen every other thing except Blacksmith.
Yes, that's right. Yep, we have just the Magic Bat drop down and Pyramid left.
Yeah, Uncle is at Kakariko Well.
Yep. And dazedcloud putting these boots to use, taking a look at Bonk Rocks, but unfortunately nothing there. And our bottle vendor has a lesson in economics today for Alaszun.
Yep, one of those poor investment opportunities. Ooh, that Turtle Rock Big Chest location is pretty nice for dazedcloud when he gets there, because he actually already found the Turtle Rock Big Chest. Or Big Key.
Yeah, that is the other diversion we have so far, is that Turtle Rock Big Key is only in one runner's possession, and that is in logic with the hook shot.
Yeah, that was just sitting over in those houses south of Eastern.
Meanwhile, Alaszun's going to skip the Pokey, because I don't think you have anything in inventory to kill the Pokey with, and finds a Cane of Samaria sitting at a very hilarious position if you're a normal runner of this game.
Yeah. So that Cane of Samaria is locked by all 4 of the Turtle Rock small keys as well.
Yeah,
that's a really nice find.
Indeed it is.
I think I will probably see dazedcloud get that, though there is a risk with like Alaszun did skip getting the key, where sometimes runners will like to get that. And that takes an unfortunate death there in the Chain Chomp room.
Yeah, I would be surprised if Alaszun went back in at this point. Oh, he is going to try and make a run at this Chain Chomp chest. Hype Cave on dazedcloud. I think we saw that already on Alaszun's side. There wasn't much in there.
Nope, not very hype today.
Small key to Ice Palace is a nice thing to have, but not required. And a small key to Turtle Rock, another nice to have. You need one.
Yeah, that is a nice one, because you're able to do what Alaszun did, where you can just gamble. You're not going to need all the keys for Turtle Rock, so you go and just don't get the Pokey Key. And in the worst case scenario, you just have to go back and get it. I'm a bit surprised to see Alaszun not using the Cane of Samaria here.
Yeah, so I think he might have forgot he grabbed it.
That's definitely something that happens a lot in running.
We find GT on dazedcloud side. We find GT and a Moon Pearl sitting in the Hope chests.
Oh, geez, that's a pretty big payoff for early GT.
And I think Alaszun missed out on the chest again.
No, he got it. It was 10 arrows.
10 arrows. All right. Well, that's like missing out.
Well, it's better than having to go back there. But yeah,
Absolutely.
Alaszun making his way over to GT as well. We'll get his Moon Pearl. He might even check Tile Room here as well.
Potentially. That is in logic, that Tile Room.
Well, not in logic. It's available, because that Cane of Samaria is pretty far out of logic.
Oh, true. Yes. And it is Lumberjack with just some cash. So we'll have the Lost Woods hideout. It's at Ganon's Pyramid. No idea what's going to be in there, and we probably won't find out, but maybe. Who knows? Kakariko continues to be the land of dungeons here as Palace of Darkness shows up.
Yep, got that one small key, so he can get 2 of the items in the back. And if he wants to do a mimic clip, he could also get the 2 bow-locked items. No bottles for the quick potion glitch. And looks like Alaszun is making his way through Tile Room and gets a big key for Pod. So that's a really nice big key.
It is. So that like you said before, that Pod big key is locked behind all 4 Turtle Rock smalls.
Yeah, that Cane of Samaria has been coming up pretty big in some of these round of 16 matches already. So We'll see if that's going to be like that. I think dazedcloud will get back to that Turtle Rock. He didn't want to do it right away because, unlike Alaszun, he had not seen the Turtle Rock left. So he's kind of treating it like a connector. Going to probably want to clear out the rest of CAC before going in there.
Yeah, there's a chance that depending on what's in the south end of Kakariko, the Daze might even skip it for a trip. They're just going to go for a Mimic Clip here.
And we found, it looks like Alaszun's found this top of Super Bunny Cave, which is always good to find because then you don't have to worry about getting baited into climbing to get the 2 items.
Yeah, and it's got goods in it today. It's got that Power Glove.
That Power Glove is good for Alaszun because that will lead him towards his boots. And also, that was a really nice Mimic Clip over there by dazedcloud, not even using the pause buffers, so able to do it about as fast as a potion glitch would take.
Yeah, I blinked and I missed it. It was really impressive from Daze getting that clip off so quickly. We find the Hyrule Castle is small, and some bombs on the right-hand side. It's not a lot.
Yeah, the Hyrule Castle small is nice because you know that it's the whatever is in Hyrule Castle is bow locked. That's beyond the first chest in the escape. It would be, if not for that glove being so early, it might have been even better because then you could go to the back of escape for free. But with that glove, you can just get the back of escape whenever.
Indeed.
So we found this Kakariko area has been pretty nice, finding a Moon Pearl, a glove, and the boots.
Yeah, lots of stuff here. Also really nice not having a ton of connectors in Kakariko. I've seen a lot of seeds where you end up having like 5 different directions you can go out of here and kind of have to pick and choose and cross fingers sometimes that what you're doing is the right thing getting out of here.
Yeah, you'll find some seeds where there's Spiral Cave and Spectacle Rock Cave and Super Bunny Cave bottom, and it's like a bunch of one-ways. There's the hammer, too.
So, our runners have a glove, a hammer, and a Moon Pearl 15 minutes in. That's the dream.
Yeah, just regular Dark World access before even finding a Dark World connector. Kind of a interesting take on Crosskeys.
Yeah, the only cross connector we've seen so far is the trip up to Floating Island from Hyrule Castle. And Alaszun's gonna... We'll see... won't be able to put this big key to use yet with only one small, but we'll have it in the back pocket for later.
Well, if he wants to be greedy, he could. If he Mimic Clips and then jumps down and doesn't open the middle door. But that's generally risky because there could just be something good sitting in the first 2 chests, and you just won't get them then.
Right, and those first 2 chests are unlocked with that single key, whereas anything else you might want to get out of here is not. So,
sorry, you continue.
Yeah, so depending on what we find here in the south part of Kakariko, we might see dazedcloud head back to that Turtle Rock entrance. There are 3 more entrances down here to check.
Yeah, I think at the end, both of these runners, Alaszun's probably they actually will probably want to save and quit to, both of them want to go to save and quit to Sank, because of those gloves.
Yeah, they get the 3 free items back in the back of Escape. And potentially ride that key all the way out to Dark Cross from there.
Yeah, that is a good point, because that sometimes can actually be required, though dazedcloud does know that's bow lock, so it's less likely to be required.
Yeah, looks like Alaszun's going to go for a Mimic Clip as well here. We'll see how it fares for him. As we find Paradox Cave, now this is going to draw dazedcloud away from that Turtle Rock entrance, I'm pretty sure.
Yeah, this Paradox Cave is all but guaranteeing that you just check these connectors and then you save and quit to Hyrule Castle when you're done with wherever these connectors take you, and then you go from there. I think you'll still see Dazed get... He could still get over to that Turtle Rock relatively soon. I think it's less likely than it is for Alaszun to get his boots soon.
Agreed. So we find Big Key for Ice Palace and a map for Skull Woods. Ice Palace Big Key logically required to beat that dungeon, but one of the less important ones in Crosskeys.
Yeah, it's really nice because it's so annoying to get back to that big chest, and it gives you a clue as to when. So it's like if you find the 2 Ice Palace Smalls and the Ice Palace Big early, then it's kind of like a signal to go to Ice Palace. Whereas the Skull Woods or Swamp Big Keys, they're literally just the one check with no other information.
And there's our second Turtle Rock Small and our first Castle Tower key. Our third Turtle Rock Small. And Hera small, so that is another item check once we find Hera. Alaszun having some problems with this Mimic Clip. Dazed is much cleaner than this.
Yeah, Daze made this trick look a lot easier than it is. And also like some runners they got it set up where they know how to do it really well with whatever controller setup they're using, like Daze was able to do, and they can just do it instantly. But if you mess up one time, you have to basically get 11 frame perfect inputs, and if you mess up one, you have to start over.
Yeah, it's if you haven't practiced this trick or are kind of unfamiliar, and Alaszun has practiced this a ton. I'm not saying that he's not practiced, but if you haven't practiced this, it's a nightmare, and even if you have, it can get away from you very quickly. As we find Magic Shop on Dark Death Mountain for dazedcloud. Really, actually kind of nice that this connector dropped Dazed out here on Dark Death Mountain. This is an area you just don't really want to end up going to on your own.
Yeah, absolutely. If you don't get the mirror when you go to the Death Mountain, you'll oftentimes find a connector that you want to follow up there, and then if you get locked out, you just never check these Dark World entrances.
And the last entrance out of Paradox Cave takes us to the east side of Death Mountain, so really nice connector here.
Yes, this is particularly important because now the whole West Dark World is in logic as well because of that hook shot.
Yep, absolutely. You find Hyrule Castle sitting in the bottom of Paradox.
So again, having that Hyrule Castle small, I wonder if dazedcloud might even want to go with it. If you don't have the lamp and or the fire rod, it might take too long to go all the way to the back of Escape from here, but it would be an option.
Yeah, I can't see that happening, having the glove already. Like, you can just save and quit when you get done with Hyrule Castle, or get done with Death Mountain, and just get to the back of Escape very quickly. As Alaszun finds Paradox Cave. Pick up a map to Ice Palace on Dazed's side. So, a lot of information already in terms of dungeon prizes. That's the 4th map that Dazed has found.
Seeing just a heart container up on the race game today. Not going to need to go rush there with the mirror.
Yeah, Dazed did check. I don't know if Dazed checked Raise Race or the other entrances. I think as soon as Dazed found Paradox, he was off and running.
He did check the other entrances. I'm not sure if he checked race game or not.
Okay.
Some runners won't scout race game in Crosskeys.
Yeah, it's if you don't have a mirror yet, I mean, there's not a ton of value in scouting it out. I mean, once you get a mirror, you can just blind check it pretty quickly. Let's take a look at the rest of the east side of Death Mountain.
Ooh,
there's our first sword.
Yeah, the sword will just make getting around easier, especially since Daze already has those boots. And then also stuff like the back of Skullwoods, and even like if you get Bombos, you can go into that Ice Palace they just found.
Yeah. And already finding a big key and a small key to Ice Palace. That's got to put up some red flags for dazedcloud.
Yeah, at least you have the hammer and the glove, so if you can get into Ice Palace, you can full clear it. So that's at least the good side, especially for Alaszun having the cane as well.
And we have a vanilla old man.
Yeah, I'm kind of... So when you're coming from the bottom, I really like when the old man's vanilla. When you're coming from the mountain, though, I still don't like it as much because that one entrance is pretty much the most dangerous entrance on West Death Mountain. So when you're coming with low health, it can be a bit risky.
Definitely.
Though that sword is really good. It helps do this dark room. It's going to help deal with the dead rock. So the hook shot also is pretty nice.
Yeah, it's definitely manageable with what Alaszun has, especially having the Keen of Samari as well.
And we got to check a quick map check. Skullwoods is a crystal.
There's our third pod small, or second pod small. We have 3 tar rocks and 2 pods.
Yeah, so dazedcloud will probably want to go back there Well, but relatively soon. It's not going to be in logic, but there's a lot of stuff you can get back there. So once you're down to looking for items rather than entrances, that's a good place to go.
Speaking of Skullwoods, we found the back of Skullwoods sitting in the exit to the mountain cave. We won't be able to get the item here in the base or in the bridge chest so far. No fire source and no Skullwood Small.
Yeah, and then, because they would actually be able to do a pretty annoying moth fight if they had those two things, but definitely don't want to worry about that without having the ability to.
Yeah, pick your poison: fighter, sword, or hammer. A bomb shot would give us a little bit of information here if we find that Turtle Rock and Swamp are 5-6 crystals today.
Yep, and that's one of those locations where you're going to have the flute to use that bomb.
Yeah, the bomb does not persist through save and quits, and you can't take it in caves, so you have to flute away to get it off the mountain.
Yeah, one of the more interesting parts in Crosskeys is sometimes you can turn in that bomb with using like mirror portals that you leave in places to make it so you can get somewhere that you normally wouldn't be able to get to with the bomb, but not going to come into play today.
And speaking of Hookshot Cave, here we are. Nice timing on this too, as it's the last entrance on the west side of Death Mountain. There's still one cave up top on the right-hand side, plus a couple drop downs. But if Daze wants to take this connector, it's not going to be a huge penalty to do so.
Yeah, and he can't even get up to the top yet without the mirror.
Right, that's right. So no place to go other than the connector here. Let's find the big key to Skullwoods.
One of those good old fetch quest big keys. So yeah, you get to take this Hookshot Cave connector, and then there's also those Hyrule Castle connectors to check, but those can take a little bit of time to get over to.
And we're seeing Alaszun take a look at the Dark Cross. I don't remember if Daze went through the Dark Cross or not.
I do not believe he did. Okay, so we get to see that one glove-locked entrance in the desert area is nothing. Alaszun already showed us these. This one's going to be Spectacle Rock Top, and then the other one, I don't remember what it was over by Akina, but it wasn't anything super important.
No, it wasn't anything of interest. Is Alaszun trying to find this chest with the hook shot?
Yeah, it's kind of a shame because if he added the boots, that check's a lot easier to get with the boots because you just bonk into the torch and then you're right in front of the chest. But with the hook shot, it's a little bit harder.
It's just a piece of heart, unfortunately. Also, it prevents a quick death warp. That's really unfortunate for Alaszun.
Yeah, that's a really annoying thought to get heart refills. Alright, looks like dazedcloud is finally concluding that route with all the connectors. Is going to come back to save and quit to Hyrule Castle and get this, or Sanctuary, sorry, and get this back of escape. And it looks like Alaszun is going to the back of escape from here.
Yeah, if you can't death warp, you might as well go all the way.
Or no, he's death warping in the prior snake room, my mistake. He went out into a different room, but it was to get rid of him.
Oh, it's quicker to death warp in the snake room than it is in that first room. And that last room.
But dazedcloud, on the other hand, is going to go from the back of escape over to that Dark Cross room.
Interesting, both our runners putting a pretty high value on this Dark Cross item.
Yeah, it is a bit annoying to get back up to that mountain. You have to pretty much take that Paradox connector. Also, this can be really annoying to take death warps in, especially without the lamp. So Daze being able to combine that with a save and quit is pretty nice.
Yeah.
And something that Daze pick up in the back of escape, which you got to imagine Alaszun will pick it up, is the Swamp Small, that's definitely an important small key. It's the only one we need for Swamp Palace, and it can often hide in really bad places, but today it's pretty nice.
Yeah, I'm kind of surprised that Daze didn't check out one of the mountain entrances at this point. See where that save and quit location takes him.
Yeah, I wonder maybe if he is thinking about that Turtle Rock, because Turtle Rock has a decent amount of items, as does Pod, so maybe he's trying to focus on items rather than entrances right now.
Speaking of items, we find Tower Hera sitting underneath the rock hidden behind Dark Mountain Ascent. And with a hook shot, we don't need that big key. We'll be able to grab 5 of the 6 items in this location, plus get whatever the prize is here. The mirror is huge. Mirror is probably the second best item in Crosskeys, maybe even better than boots sometimes.
Yeah, it's really nice to get an early mirror like this, because then when you get into the dark world, there's a lot of mirror or entrances that you can only get with the mirror, or that oftentimes you can only get with the mirror. And also, we've already found the top of Death Mountain, so that just gives us so many entrances right off the bat.
Yeah, and I forgot no fire source, so we won't be able to get the basement chest, but we'll be able to get 4 items here. It gives a mirror, also gets a cape, so a little bit of safety and comfort, which isn't so bad at this early stage, only sitting on 6 hearts.
And that cape has the extra benefit in Crosskeys. Well, it's the same benefit as in normal, where you can go through the Aga Tower barrier. But sometimes, like especially with that mirror right now, if you find yourself over on the pyramid, you just mirror over and do the top of Hyrule Castle. And if it only were on the fighter's sword, then they would have to leave behind that middle entrance.
Yeah. We'll also provide out of logic access to Spike Cave right now. Is that cape is locked in by the Tower Hera Big. May also need some sort of second magic bar with as few hearts to put Spike Cave into logic.
Yeah, with the cape you need a half magic or a bottle. And I think you definitely think about doing that at some point when you're going to want to check the Hyrule Castle connectors. Though with the mirror, they can mirror to the top of Death Mountain now, so we'll have to see when that comes to play. It looks like dazedcloud is going to that Turtle Rock entrance, though.
Yep. Had no problems with Moldorm. Moldorm did drop a non-green pendant, so still sitting at 0 crystals.
Daze, what are you doing? Why do you
does
want
Daze not
maybe
have
you realized he forgot. No, he has the big key to Turtle Rock.
It's fine. Everything's fine.
I think he realized he forgot it, and then he's like, oh, I'll just do this first and then go back. Because he just opened a big key door. Yes, and now he has the key.
Yeah, those are some slashes of happiness right there. We're going to call it that.
All right, good. Get it the second time.
All right, just a map there.
But yeah, actually, our tracker making a good point in chat that dazedcloud will be able to get all the way to Laser Bridge once he gets this cane, so we'll get to see that get over to that big chest again.
Yeah, that this Canis Maria, like you said, is locked in behind our 4 Turtle Rock small keys, but we already found 3 of them, and aren't actually going to need the 4th to beat the dungeon with this layout.
Yeah, because when you have 3, you're not really too worried about it being blocked by 4. When Alaszun came over here, he only had the 1, so you're thinking, okay, this game's probably pretty far out of logic. But when you're only 1 away, you can basically assume, okay, that 1 key could just be in some accessible location that I'm just never going to check. So you kind of treat it like it is in logic.
Exactly.
Putting that cave to really good use, these chain chomps were quite annoying.
Yeah, they're really well designed enemies. dazedcloud choose to take a death warp there to refill some of his hearts before the dark maze of Turtle Rock. Those that Samaria platform room.
Yeah, it is a bit perilous when you're in a situation like this where you're going to Turtle Rock or Laser Bridge with this low of health. It's nice to have the cape for sure, because you don't necessarily want to take the safety door of Laser Bridge because you might get locked out. So if you want those Laser Bridge items, it's oftentimes worth it to just not take the safety door and just get it.
Yeah, there's a decent chance that dazedcloud won't get locked out. There's only a few entrances that are locked at this point still. There's Turtle Rock itself, the main entrance, Misery Mire, and GT.
And Skullwood's back.
And Skullwood's back, yeah. So 4 or 5 entrances that are still locked in, but most of the entrances are accessible.
Yeah, it's definitely less of a risk now because they have Moon Pearl Glove, Hammer, Boots, so they're not as likely to get locked down for sure. It's pretty unlikely.
Yeah, and with the hammer peg skip that was found a couple months ago, even that location is now no longer a lockout.
Well, it's a lockout from going back into the entrance if you don't have the hammer. You can get out and go to Village of Outcasts, but you can't go back into the entrance without the hammer, right?
Correct, but we have the hammer, so everything's cool. Other than you can't get back once you cross because you don't have mitts. Nothing on Laser Bridge though, but a good connector taking us into the Palace of Darkness area.
Yeah, nothing really nice on Laser Bridge, but this is nice for routing purposes. This flute to 5 entrance without the flute is quite annoying to get to.
Yeah, and Alaszun finally heading into Lost Woods. We'll get these boots here shortly.
Yeah, definitely not going to feel good about that because you know that there's definitely a lot of routes that your opponent could have taken to get these boots in sub 5 minutes.
Aghanim just protecting some cash today.
But this is actually really nice for dazedcloud to get that connector here because now you can just mirror over and do the other flute to 5 spot and then clear out Eastern and Pod area. Because he hasn't done Sahasrara, so you can just go to Pod and then immediately mirror and get to the Sahasrara hut in Eastern.
Yeah, it's having a mirror early in Crosskeys is just such a good feeling.
Even though, notwithstanding those entrances, even just having the ability to take death warps, because you oftentimes are going to be dipping dungeons you can't clear, so you would take a decent amount of death warps if you don't have the mirror.
Yeah, absolutely. But instead of we're going to check out the Fairy Cave first before heading up towards Pod itself.
Yeah, you definitely check this first at least.
And finds Ice Rod Cave, only 20 rupees there.
So something to note, that Ice Rod Cave is in a really nice spot if you want to water walk to that book.
It is. It is a very simple walk from there.
Yeah, there's sometimes, I think it would probably be worth it to do, but you got to be really thinking and have to fit in your route.
I think if you were going to do it, you would do it before checking Pod at this point, because you can get back here pretty quickly.
Well, you can't get back into the Pod area after you get because you get stuck on the island in the middle.
Right. But I mean, just in general, it doesn't take much to get to this. It does take a little bit of tracking through Turtle Rock, but this area is pretty well accessible because we already have a hammer and glove, and Moon Pearl. So getting back here is not very long at all.
Yeah, but I guess the other thing is you could just go back there after doing the pyramid.
True.
All right, Alaszun making his way to his Molorn fight. We'll get the bad news about it being a pendant. Looks like Daze is going back. So that means he definitely wants to keep the portal, because if you don't want to, then you would just drop over to Sahasa. But it actually makes sense because you got the pyramid for sure. It just always sucks to walk out of Pod.
Yeah. And this is one of our Hyrule Castle entrances we hadn't seen yet.
Alaszun probably a bit disappointed there, realizing he probably did not make it to Hotel Mario before his opponent. Okay, so we'll get to see those pyramid entrances and get to put that cape to good use to get the third entrance, unless there's also a Master Sword on the pyramid or something.
Yeah, and this is unfortunate for Alaszun taking this bumper connector. We've already seen the other side of this down by Lake Hylia. Dark cave of some sort here.
Yeah, it doesn't. We don't really care too much about what that is. I guess it would be nice if we figured out if it's the back of Old Man or not, because we still haven't found that one. But they've already rescued the Old Man, so the front is not interesting. There's a big key in a Graveyard Ledge, or K45, sorry.
Meyer big. Definitely don't know what Meyer's prize is yet, but very good possibility that that will be required.
And Alaszun pulling off a nice splash deletion there with bombs on the Cane of Samaria. I'm going to check Hobo real quick. Speaking of Graveyard Ledge, there it is. I was just talking about the next entrance when I called.
Just a little early on that. That's fine. Yeah, this guy under the bridge, one of the most isolated checks in general in Crosskeys, I would say. And that half magic is a very nice find.
And this is Death Mountain Descent, the front cave.
Yep.
Not the one where you bonk into the pits. And there's our first look at Light Hype Cave, which is the dam today. It's a nice place to find it, because then I don't think either of those runners have checked the dam itself yet, so you get the item right away.
Yeah, I don't think either runners even sniffed out South Shore at this point.
Now, I guess that's what happens when you get regular Dark World access 15 minutes into the Crosskeys Seed.
Yeah, I can't imagine that entrance is going to elude dazedcloud much longer with regular Dark World access already. Probably just taking the portal next to Swamp and then just checking a bunch of stuff using your mirror. So we find a Skullwood small key.
Oh yeah, chat pointing out that they exited from the dam. So didn't voluntarily go down here yet, but I guess that's one of the reasons they wouldn't. dazedcloud going to make his way over to the Catfish area. With the mirror, we'll see how much of if any of the Zora area he tries to do. He has the money for Zora and can use the splash deletion, the same one that we saw Alaszun do earlier, if he's familiar with that one.
We're getting our first look at the Bonk Rock checks behind Link's house. In the Dark World, it's just a shop. Our first bottle at Catfish.
Yep, I don't think we found Sick Kid yet, but it's nice to have that. The ledge item is just bombs, so not going to need to try to do splash delete. It's quite hard to splash delete down there without the bomb arrow setup.
Alaszun going to put the mirror to good use here. Take a look at K45, and it's 5 items. It is Blind's hideout today. GT small. That's probably not worth 500 rupees.
No, definitely an upcharge there.
I got a mushroom in Blind's hut and a shovel. So if you like your fetch quests, K45 is the location for you. Alaszun trying to get cheeky with a hammer dash and instead shoveled the ground.
Yeah, that shovel location is actually quite nice, though, because you just jump out of here and you can check that pretty quickly.
Mm-hmm.
The mushroom is not nice because we know where that potion shop is, and it's not in a fun location to get to. That's back on Dark West Death Mountain. Yeah, and it's kind of weird where our runners are at right now because they have a lot of items, but they just don't have many dungeons they can full clear right now. They're kind of one item away from a bunch.
We saw that, we got a map check. We saw Thieves Town is a green pendant. Looked like Ice Palace and where we knew Skullwoods was, or we did not know Skullwoods. Skullwoods is a crystal.
Meyer is a crystal as well.
Yep. So not a lot of options left for our last pendant dungeon.
dazedcloud found the Eastern Palace and has decided to make a dip into it. It's kind of a controversial topic in this community, whether or not to go into Eastern when you find it.
Oh, Ice's pendant. So we do have the full dungeon knowledge. This is a crystal in Eastern Palace. With a mirror, I'm much more of a fan of dipping Eastern than without.
It does make getting out quicker. So now that we have the full dungeon information on Dazed's side, we can kind of see what it is that we're looking for. We're going to need the flippers to beat Swamp Palace. We're going to need the pod big key, though I think that was found. Sorry, it just doesn't have that tracker. And then we have the fire rod to beat Turtle Rock.
And we need a fire rod for several dungeons. At least a fire source of some kind. We'll need it for Desert. We'll need it for Skull Woods. We'll need it for Turtle Rock. We'll need the fire rod specifically for Turtle Rock.
Yeah, and then the Eastern Big Key as well. So a decent amount of items to go.
We'll also need a bow. We'll need another sword.
And it's kind of interesting because, like, they've got the items that lead to most other items. Like, most of the items that they need are either big keys or the bow and the fire rod and flippers. And of those ones, the flippers, I guess the fire rod without having the lamp lasts a lot more than it normally does.
Yeah, there's a fair bit that is fire locked, and until we find that lamp, it could be the only source of ways of getting to, say, Armless Knights, or if you look checks in Palace of Darkness, as we find behind the lamp is the Desert Palace Big Key.
Yeah, it's a nice find there to find the Desert Palace Big Key over in Eastern. We'll see if that's going to end up being like a required double dip if Desert locks something that like a bow or an Eastern Big Key.
It's a really nice fake flipper setup on dazedcloud's side, just bonking that tree, getting on the right pixel.
Yeah, absolutely. If you ever bonk on those near trees or statues, you'll set up the fake flipper every time. Same with bomb setups. And Alaszun's made his way over into Thieves' Hunt. I didn't get to see where this entrance was, but this.
I believe it's in this area because Alaszun got dumped out at the Rocks entrance here in Shopping Mall.
Yeah, I think you're right too because he did do that. I saw him do the brewery as well.
So it's either in the Always Open cave or it's on the Light World side. Days deciding we've got a lot more to do over here before we take that connector. The Smiths are over here in the Ice Rod Cave area as well.
That will be a pretty long trek if the flute is not found.
Yeah, the Smith's in for quite a trip today. And Alaszun's going to try and set up a fake flipper here to get that book.
Well, you can't get the book with a fake flipper. You have to actually do a water walk.
Right.
Guess he just wants to get to Catfish.
That makes sense.
That portal over by the Dark Shopping Mall in Witch's Hut is very useful in Crosskeys.
As we saw already on Alaszun's side, the first four of Thieves Town, not a big prize.
Yep, and Alaszun's also making the same decision that dazedcloud made and going to dip into Eastern Palace.
Yeah, so he'll have that Desert Big shortly. And now Daze is going to follow the footsteps, the trail of crumbs that Alaszun laid out here. Take this connector.
And that's pretty nice for dazedcloud because he hasn't done this area yet.
Yeah, this worked out really well. We'll be able to check a whole bunch of entrances. Has both the bonk rocks behind Link's house that we've seen weren't all that useful, but yeah, we'll be able to check Mini Moldorm. We'll be able to check all sorts of stuff down here in the South Shore.
And it's kind of interesting that these runners they'll have the Desert Big Boots and Desert Small before even finding one of the Desert Hub entrances.
Yeah, Alaszun found the back, but we haven't seen any of the main desert area yet. That feels like a similar accomplishment to finding Eastern Palace with the big key and the bow.
Yeah, and oftentimes when you find desert that late, it means that one or two of the entrances are in one of the unreachable locations, like the Turtle Rock Laser Eye entrance or the Desert Useless, which we have not seen either of those yet.
Yeah, we've not seen either of those. We haven't seen the Turtle Rock Ledge. Have not been able to get in the mire area yet, so there are still a lot of useful connector possibilities, but there are still a couple of useless ones as well. And there's our Swamp Palace, Vanilla Swamp Palace today.
Yeah, Vanilla Swamp Palace. The dam moved up right one screen, so pretty close for normal Swamp Palace stuff. Even without the Crosskeys dam always pulled thing, it wouldn't be the worst to have to pull it every time, but definitely glad to not have to. So now where these runners are at, it's kind of interesting because there's a couple of items that could really just break open the seed, with the Fire Rod and the Flippers both giving them a good amount of access. Because like the Fire Rod would give them right side GT plus Ice Palace plus like back of Skullwoods and even some things like back of Desert. And the Flippers would give them all of Swamp Palace.
Speaking of GT, I'm surprised neither runners have headed back in that direction, having Hook, Shot, and Hammer for pretty much full reign on the left hand side. That and Pod are the two locations that I've been kind of surprised that our runners have avoided.
Yeah, I guess Pod can make sense to me because they didn't have the bow or that many keys. But yeah, GT is a bit surprising. But at the same time, these runners have just had so much to do that.
Yeah, that's what happens when you have a seed where you have basically full movement or near full movement right at the start. Like the only things that aren't accessible at this point are midst locked locations, and with that Hammer, Glove, Moon Pearl, Mirror, you can pretty much get wherever you want. So it leaves a ton of options and a ton of different places in the decision tree for these runners.
Yeah, and really in Crosskeys, efficiency is king. So like, even if you put off doing GT a little while, unless you get to skip something that you otherwise wouldn't do, it's not going to or you get something like if you found like the mirror in there and that mirror made your route more efficient, then there's no reason to rush those item entrances because you're still going to have to check most of the entrances in the game most seasons.
Exactly.
And something interesting that I didn't notice is that dazedcloud has not checked, or maybe he has checked Link House and they just don't have it on the tracker, but he doesn't have the Desert Small marked yet.
Yeah, I don't think Daze has stopped at Link's house yet, so why would you?
It's actually interesting because he's exited Link's house, but he didn't go back in. We didn't get to see the rare Houlihan into going back to Link's house.
And we'll see Alaszun take a look at the pyramid, get those locations. Does decide to pick up this map. We'll be a little upset about it being a Tower Hera map.
So at this point, though, I wouldn't be surprised to see runners go back to something like Pod or GT, because the entrances they have left, they could take that mountain connector. That'd be like the main other option, because that's where most of the entrances they have left are, with the mirroring from the top of the mountain. But otherwise, they've done most of the accessible entrances at this point between the two of them.
Yeah. Honestly, I would suspect that one of these runners is going to decide to take a look and see where the mountain entrances are at. If one of them drops out in the mire area, fantastic. If not, we'll probably head into GT.
let's see if that's where dazedcloud is heading, walking over to Kakariko with the mirror out. And there's another dark connector. I don't know if we've seen the back of Old Man, because if we have, then he'd be able to know what that is.
We've not seen either end of. We've not seen the front of Old Man. We've not seen back of the mountain cave, and that is, as you suspected, one of the two entrances to DMD.
Yep, and we're seeing Alaszun is going to go and take this Spectacle Rock connector back to the top of that mountain, get the freestanding item there, and then check as many entrances as he can up here. So I think it would have been nice to have gotten the book already, though, because like Ether Tablet is just going to be such an annoying location at this point if Alaszun makes his way over to Tower of Air entrance right now.
Yeah, that would. I don't know if Alaszun saw the book though. I know Daze did.
Yeah, I'm not sure if he did either. Because when Alaszun got spit out there via the connector, he just went over to the entrance and didn't remember jumping down. Oh wait, he probably checked it when he went to Hobo, so I think he might have seen it then.
Yeah.
Yeah, he had to have seen it because he jumped down to the dock to do a fake flipper with the Canis Martin bombs.
And here is this GT play. dazedcloud is going to take a look at Tower Room first, and then probably clean up everything on the left-hand side.
Yeah, this will be good for Daze to be able to get that pod big key. That'll probably push him over to pod if he's not satisfied with his item haul here from GT.
Yeah, with two GT smalls, I believe that keeps the Mac chest out of logic, but everything else on the left-hand side is going to be completely in logic.
Yeah, Stalfos Room and Torch are both going to be in logic. So it's just Stalfos Room, Torch, Hope Room, and Tile before you get 4, and then, or 3 is for Ice Armos and Big Chest. And would not be surprised to see Alaszun step into there after he's over in the Village of Outcasts area right now.
Yeah, and there's that pod big key. Chad asking, how do you decide whether you want to invest time in Tower Room? Really, I think for me at least, it's a kind of a feel thing. I don't want to spend too many trips in Ganon's Tower. I don't want to feel like I have to go back just to check that location. And there's a decent chance there's going to be some stuff in the left-hand side as well, so I might as well get that knocked out in the same trip. Alaszun finds one of our desert entrances and finds the Bombos Medallion on the Torch. That'll get us access to Ice Palace.
Yeah, really big find there with the Bombos Medallion. And so for my approach for Tide Room is you basically are just going to almost always do it in Tide Room. The exceptions will be if you're in one item from Go Mode and you have the whole basement to clear, then you'll probably do all of it but Tile Room. But it really, you have to be pretty close to Go Mode, I think, to be able to skip it most times.
Yeah, you don't really want to be in a position where Tower Room is an option in GT and you're looking for one or two things. And it's only an option because you've skipped it on one or two trips in the past.
Though the one thing to always consider when you're skipping things is we see Alaszun get the flu, which is still could be nice to see it if we get the mitts before Meyer access. But one thing to always consider in Crosskeys when you're evaluating whether to skip something is not is how hard is it to get back here? If Ganon's Tower is in Link's Bonk Rocks and you have the boots, then you're more likely to skip it than if it's in the Tower of Hero entrance.
Correct.
So that was actually a pretty nice haul there for Desert, especially because you can just mirror right here and activate the blue, which will be really nice for getting around the scene.
Yeah, absolutely good find for Alaszun there. And so far, the left side of GT has not really paid out much at all.
Yeah, really not finding anything useful.
Yeah, we're going to take this all the way to Armos. We're going to have a fun fight with Hammer. Maybe some boomerang action. Pick your poison here.
Yeah, don't really have any of the items like Cane of Burna or Bow that make fighting the Ice Armos easier.
This also feels bad in Crosskeys when you're having to fight Ice Armos before you found that GT Big Key. You're going to have to make another trip down. You may have to make another trip down here at some point to check that big chest.
Yeah, for sure. It's at least, you're kind of hoping if you're dazedcloud now, like, okay, if I have to check the big chest, hopefully it's after I get the fire rod so that you can do compass room into big chest.
So it's going to be some Samaria strats for dazedcloud here in this Ice Armos fight. Doing a good job of keeping one of these statues off of its starting position and slow that rotation down. Most of the Armos script you can't interrupt, but if they aren't in that starting location when they try to start their spin round, they will try and get there before starting. You can see here 4 of those statues are set, and the 5th one finally does get set as dazedcloud takes a hit and starts this cycle of the fight over.
Yeah, it's interesting about Armos Knights because like the Fighter Sword Slash is actually not the worst thing to use against the Armos. Fighter Sword class damage is better than Master Sword class damage against Armos Knights. So if you have Master Sword, you want to either use pokes or sword beams. Not been a fine fight for dazedcloud, but he's gonna get through it.
Yeah, not the best, not the worst. Gonna be happy to be through it and get these 3 items. Take a look at what's behind here. A whole lot of nothing.
Yeah, GT was pretty empty. I think that Alaszun, just with the 2 items in Desert Palace, got the better end of that deal. And Alaszun also making his way over to the laser bridge and not finding anything there either. And that pod big key definitely is pushing dazedcloud over here because now you can go to the back and get everything but the harmless Hellway.
Yeah, when we get done here, unless we find another small key for pod inside pod, we'll have harmless Hellway, vigilant big key chest, and the boss left.
And yeah, Alaszun's going to cover up a lot of what we saw over by dazedcloud over in this Eastern Palace area. There wasn't anything too interesting, but those 2 item chests are fairly solid.
Nothing in the basement loop.
Yeah, so everything in this back of pod is locked logically by 4 pod smalls, and then this dark maze, which we will most likely see dazedcloud set up the hammer jump for, is going to be locked by 6 pod smalls.
Yeah, you'll see Dazed exit and re-enter that room from the south to make sure that it doesn't get locked in here. If you fail your bomb jump coming in from the north, you can't reset this bridge without heading back down that loop and heading back up. It's a lot longer to reset.
Yeah, you can also go into the Ruby basement, but that's also slower.
Yeah, without a key, you can't even go to the Harmless Hellway. You have to go down to the Rupee basement and then back up. 5 rupees, 1 rupee.
Yeah, I mean, so at this point, it's looking like Ice Palace is going to be the answer for more stuff with that Bombos medallion that Alaszun's found, because we've seen most of the things available to these runners at this point.
Yeah, I think both of us expected one of those 2 plays at Pod or GT to pay off, and just only an Ether medallion across the board.
And Alaszun's going to show this rupee guy can sometimes be useful in Crosskeys. It's pretty easy strategy just to shoot the Octorok as it's passing the second curtain, and you can farm it twice in a row.
3 times if you're fast enough. But yeah, this is more of an inverted strat than a Crosskey strat. But sometimes you find archery game in a position where you can take advantage of it.
Because Alaszun, I believe he hasn't done Zora yet, and he's got to open pod, so that's why he's doing this right now.
All right, we'll take a look and see where the back of the mountain cave takes us. This is our first look at this.
So it's pretty likely that it's going to be Laser Bridge entrance, Laser Eye plus Mimic Cave entrance, or Desert Useless, because that's 3 we haven't seen yet, and there's just not that many connectors left out there.
It is the Mimic Cave entrance, so this is going to end up being nice. It is lamp locked in logic, this cave. And it's just a connector.
So that's the other side of that old lady connector that we saw over in the brewery entrance in Village of Outcast. Wonder if Dazed Cloud will want to jump down for Spike Cave here.
Probably. Like, already checked. You might as well do Spike Cave later down here. 12 hearts. Plenty of space to get it done.
It's a little bit low on magic. They also have the option to do the Hyrule Castle They have one connector they haven't seen from here, so that looks like what he's going to do.
Yeah.
Oh, sorry. Spike Cave is in the Dark World, so he can't get there from here. He needs to.
That's right. Yeah, that's right.
He needs to have the mitts or jump down from the top of the Dark Death Mountain. And we're going to see a bit of a high five here because Alaszun's taking a different entrance into Hyrule Castle to check this connector.
Womp womp.
You know what? I'm okay with that entrance because now you can go do Spike Cave. For Alaszun, it'll be really nice because he can go into Ice Palace from here, and I think that's pretty easy. And you get to knock out that entrance. So that Spiral Cave is going to be quite annoying because I think if you're Alaszun, you're probably thinking about jumping down to Spike Cave or Ice Palace, but maybe he's already found that. Because that would interrupt you and make you want to do something else.
Smarter by Dazed Cloud getting a fill on that potion. Got plenty of money to burn. Not going to need it for the rest of the seed. Might as well pick something up here while you're taking a look here. We're going to take a look at Hera entrance.
Yeah, it looks like Alaszun decided to get that really terrible mushroom turn out of the way, and also that potion buy is kind of giving away the game that he's planning to go to Ice Palace. It's a really good time. Also, Spike Cave's over there, so there's just 2 good reasons to fill up your magic.
Yeah. A couple fresh entrances for Dazed here. You have 2 items here in Waterfall Ferry. And that's our last Turtle Rock Small. So Canis Maria is finally in logic now. And just the Rupee Horde. So Ice Palace is almost certainly the play here for runners. Dazed does have to get to Village Outcast first and get that Bombos Medallion.
Yeah, so something I was going to point out about the Turtle Rock Smalls is we have not seen the front of Turtle Rock, and given that we still haven't seen the Laser Bridge entrance or the Desert Useless entrance, it's pretty likely that it's one of those, which means that the only ways to get there is either to beat Trinex or to go through the back. So I'm thinking that if you have this many keys, it could come into play that something is in those front Turtle Rock chests and you're required to go from the back to the front.
Normally I feel that way, but 2 of those chests are locked by the Fire Rod, and Trinex is locked by the Fire Rod. We got a lot easier access to Trinex than we do to the front of the dungeon.
That's a very good point, yeah. So it'd have to be basically that one, even though logically it would require that practically no runner is going to go back and front like that.
And we are in Ice Palace on Alaszun's side. Let's take a look at our first chest here. It is just some cash. Meanwhile, Dazed Cloud does finally make his way into Village Outcast, so we'll be picking up that Bombos and that flute very shortly.
Yeah, he's going to unfortunately not be able to go into Link's house to get the Desert Small. I can't remember if the Desert right side had anything. I don't think it did, because Bombos was on the torch and then the flute was in the middle. Yeah,
Bombos on the torch, flute was in the map chest. I think the right side was a total blank, so gonna miss out on a couple chests here, but not gonna hurt too bad. Probably gonna be a little upset finding this Bombos after being up on Death Mountain again.
Yeah, the good part is you can get back there pretty quickly from where he's at, just taking the Paradox middle connector.
Yeah, it's not too bad.
And meanwhile, Alaszun got the Icebreaker making his way through Ice Palace. It's definitely an easy decision here. You can full clear it. You have the cane. It's not going to get any better. I guess it's a pendant, so I don't know if he knows that yet, but it's a lot of stuff. And that lamp is actually important because that's our first fire source.
Yeah, lamp is pretty huge. That puts a couple different things in logic that we found. A couple of the big keys that we found are now in logic.
Yeah, the desert big for sure.
But yeah, that'll Alaszun knows where that Desert North is. That's all he needs to beat Desert and get that crystal. We also know where Skull Woods is at, and I think both the runners have found one Skull Woods small so far, so that'll put that dungeon not into logic, but completable for both these runners.
Yeah, the logic about beating Mothula is always, it's a bit interesting because you need the Fire Rod for sure because that bomb jump's not in logic. You also need all 3 Skull Woods smalls and the Moon Pearl no matter where Mothula is. Because you could waste to take the keys as a bunny and then not be able to pick them up without the Moon Pearl. Not really too much else in Ice Palace so far other than that lamp, so probably not feeling too great about the diff here.
Yeah, it's just opening up more options as opposed to really providing a lot of progression. Couple dungeons we haven't found yet that will make that lamp a comfy find. We've not found Misery Mire, and we've not found the Castle Tower yet.
There's that Tower pair of big keys, so that puts the cape they found into logic, which didn't lead to anything of note. The Bumper Cave connector was not useful, and the Graveyard Legend, the Castle Tower, wasn't anything of note. But it does also give them the option to go back for that one item, which with the boots and hookshot is actually not terrible, but you're not going to go out of your way for that.
Yeah, just swamp big for one check once you find the slippers. The other thing. Alaszun might be a little more enticed to head back to Hera once he finds that big key, because he does have a fire source to get that item out of the basement.
Yeah, once he still has like GT and Pod, so he'll probably want to do those first. But yeah, I agree. It's definitely a much more attractive option.
Unfortunate for Days there getting grabbed before grabbing that. It is always a small key, but I don't know if Dazed has one for the north side.
And this Fighter Sword, no Fire Rod, Hammer, Moth, or Cold Stare fight for Alaszun's being a bit tricky. Luckily had an extra potion for it.
Yeah, this is no bueno, that's for sure.
And unfortunately with Fighter Sword, Cape isn't a great option, so Alaszun likes to just burn the blue potion right away without trying to use any magic, but still getting a little bullied by these puffs.
Yeah, if he wants to, he can hang up on the north side of the room and kind of take the icicles out of the equation, but it does make it a much slower fight. It's very, very unfortunate. Bright side, though, it is a pendant. Don't know if there's anything on Cold Stare itself that might be required, but the beating Ice Palace is not going to be required to beat this seed.
Yeah, so definitely if you're rooting for Alaszun, you're really hoping that Cold Stare is nothing, because that's going to be a pretty late check for him. And he's doing the map check to confirm that that's a pendant and not go back. So just probably going to risk that the entire rest of the match. And look at that bow sitting there on top of Bumper. So now maybe that would entice you to follow some connectors that are left behind. Though at this point, I think the only connector that's left behind, we've got maybe one desert connector and the Turtle Rock front. So that's another one of our guaranteed that's not.
There is one more. I don't think Alaszun made it through Dark Mountain Descent, and it does have the lamp to put that into logic.
Oh, that's a really good point. Yeah, because we did see two ends of the dark connectors. We saw one on Castle Tower, and then we saw one somewhere else. And I didn't know if that was going to be front of Old Man or that.
Yeah, I don't know where that other dark, what entrance that other dark entrance is, but Alaszun does have this lamp now and can traverse those very easily.
Though it is quite annoying to get back to that top of the pyramid to mirror over to.
Oh yeah, for sure. Alaszun going to dip through pod here, going to find absolutely nothing. Mimic Cave. I don't know if Alaszun got into this yet.
No, the North Dark World, neither of these runners have really gone too far up here.
Just 20 rupees.
So that bow, though, it's nice, but it's really not going to give these runners anything right now. They would need the GT Big Key or the Eastern Big Key, or I guess it gives them the boss of Pod out of Logic. That's probably the best thing it gives them.
Alaszun does have the Eastern Big Key.
Oh yeah, I didn't see him pick that.
I'm not sure. I don't remember exactly where that was at, but Alaszun does have that Eastern Val's Big Key.
Well, then he'll be really happy to see that bow up there. And here's Agate Tower. We can get both the items in here. We'll be out of Logic for dazedcloud, but we know that lamp's available.
And this is one of the dark rooms that runners dislike the most, especially without a fire rod. Doing this truly in the dark is sometimes a danger.
Yeah, there's a nice strategy you can use with damage boosting from the bat, and dazedcloud used it really nice there and got the big key of Thieves Town. So that's definitely a nice, you can tell he definitely has practiced that, because that was really quick, just damage boost off the bat, and then you can, if you know where he's always in the same spot, so he always puts you in the same spot. Very nice.
Yeah, really well done on Dave's side. As Alaszun's now going to head to GT and find absolutely nothing.
And yeah, Dazed, having seen that bow up on the top of Bumper Cave, is deciding that connectors are really valuable. So this is one of the ones we haven't seen. I don't know. I didn't see if they exited out the right. Alaszun must have, but I don't think dazedcloud did. But we haven't seen this front from either runner.
Our first trip into Mire, locked by Bombos.
Yeah, that's a really good connector. It's not the one that you were looking for as dazedcloud, but you're definitely happy to see that.
Another connector you're not looking for is Super Bunny Bottom. We already found the top.
Yep, it's definitely nice to have found the top first, because that's an annoying location to get back to.
Yeah, absolutely. This will be our first look in the Misery Mire area. We got 3 more entrances in here, plus we have Checkerboard Cave and 2 entrances in Desert that we have not already looked at.
Yeah, and Daze did scout the Desert Ledge. I don't remember what it was, but it wasn't anything interesting. So yeah, with that, that flute, normally the flute becomes completely useless if you find the Mire area, but given where the bomb shop is, the flute still does have hope to be relevant today, as that bomb shop location on Death Mountain is requiring the flute to be used.
Yeah, taking a look at what we still need at this point. Still need a fire rod before we can get that bomb. We still need flippers, and at this point, we'd have to see that bomb shop lead to Bumper Ledge to make it worthwhile. Be a connector that takes you to Bumper Ledge.
Well, actually, the real thing that the bomb shop would be is the Mire entrance. We still have not found Misery Mire, which is a crystal, and we're running really low on entrances to check.
Yeah, we're getting a few here, but yeah, we are definitely looking low in terms of entrance areas. But here is Misery Mire sitting in Checkerboard Cave. dazedcloud does have that big key, and does have Samaria, so can beat this dungeon. Just pick up Master Swords. That'll be a big help in that fight.
Yeah, for sure. You're not having the bow. It would be really annoying to do Fighter Sword Vitreous. But yeah, so this was a really good find, entrance wise. Because I believe the only entrances that between the two we haven't seen are Pyramid Interior, obviously GT, but that's not going to be Meyer, and then the mirror top from Bumper Ledge.
Yeah, I believe you're correct as well on that. One thing to note, Daze is going to have a much better time in this dungeon than, or Alaszun's going to have a much better time in this dungeon than dazedcloud is, depending on when Alaszun gets here. As Alaszun will have half magic, as well as a lamp to get through the basement.
Yeah, and I think, so Alaszun has not done Skullwoods yet, so he'll probably get drawn up to that North Dark World, because like the main thing that will make you check this desert connector is seeing that bow on Bumper Ledge, because right now you have so much accessibility via entrance for entrances that connectors aren't super valuable, but once you see that bow, they suddenly become very valuable. And yeah, so in addition to having the lamp making the dark room easier, it'll also make actually doing the chests in here possible, because there's 2 chests that Daze is not going to be able to get.
Yeah, if that fire rod is sitting lamp locked on the left side of Meyer, that could be just a terrible break for dazedcloud.
Yeah, absolutely. Because it would be hard to. This is not an easy location to get to unless the mitts show up. And even if they do, it's still not great.
Smart little bit of time save from dazedcloud. They're dashing to the steps before falling in the pit and reducing the amount of time you're sitting waiting the screen to scroll back to your entrance.
Yep, and really nice way to get through that dark room there, showing the strategy where you just walk over the switch and then walk down to the wall, place the block, throw it up, it'll land right on the switch.
Yeah, it can be tricky sometimes to avoid the shooters while you're trying to do that, but really well done by dazedcloud there.
Yeah, you got to time. There's some timing tricks you can do to make it a little better, but yeah, it's definitely not as easy as he made it look.
And Alaszun quickly putting this lamp to good use, going to take a look at Desert North, get this crystal off the board, and find out what's sitting on Landmolus.
Yeah, because Alaszun knows that this is in logic because he actually has gotten the Link's House Desert Palace Small. And dazedcloud busting out that cape. We're probably going to see the nice strat where you just spam sword slashes with the Master Sword, and then the magic doesn't drain.
Yeah, that's a really nice way to fight this fight. Especially with no arrows, you can just leave the cape on for the whole thing. Get close enough that whenever the eyeball pops out, or whenever the main body of Vitreous pops out, you get some damage in on it while you're killing the small eyes as well.
You're seeing some dueling boss fights here with Alaszun doing Ice Rod Landmolus. He does a pretty nice job getting the 2 cycle to half magic, really helping out there.
Yeah, and dazedcloud through phase 1 of Vitreous, busting out the hammer, playing a little ping pong, a little table tennis, and just a bottle on Vitreous, and I didn't see what was on the Landmolus, but it didn't look like it was anything of great interest.
Heart container.
So no.
All right, let's see where... Looks like Alaszun's going to go right back into the Dark World. Probably going to go up to Skullwoods because he's cleared out most of anything else in this area other than the North Dark World and Skullwoods.
Yeah, dazedcloud is starting to run out of things to do. There's a connector that could end up leading to that bow.
Yeah, that's definitely a nice find. But now we gotta start wondering, because there's not that many items left. We got the Eastern Palace big chest in the boss once that bow is found. We've got that 2-hour repair at 2 items. We got the 2 items on the left on Meyer, and then Cold Stare are the main things left.
Yeah, both the runners have a I really hope it's not here a situation with Alaszun dying on Cold Stare and deciding not to go back in, and dazedcloud not having a fire source heading to Misery Mire. If one of our progression items is in one of those locations, it's really just one of those unfortunate things you have happen in rando sometimes.
Yeah, and we'll see if this long connector dazedcloud is checking is the one that he's hoping for, which would be the top of Bumper Ledge.
No.
Nope. So now we've got, for sure, the front of Turtle Rock has not been found. So that could be it. And I don't know what the other connector we haven't checked is yet. I think it's that other Death Cloud Descent.
We found the front. We found the Turtle Rock main entrance.
Oh, we did? Okay.
Yeah.
So yeah, I'm wondering which. Maybe it has to be that. Did we find a connector to Laser Bridge yet? I don't recall.
Yes, we found the Turtle Rock ledge. So I think that dark connector on top of Pyramid is starting to look better and better.
Well, yeah, we found the Turtle Rock ledge with the Laser Eye and Mimicade, but did we find the Laser Bridge entrance?
Yeah. dazedcloud went out of it. dazedcloud does find the connector. There we go.
What connector was that he was just saying?
Oh,
and there's the other end of the dark connector.
The dark connector.
Oh, wow, it was Desert Right? Alaszun didn't go out there? That's crazy. I mean, I guess with the mirror it makes sense, but I thought for sure when he checked the Desert Right chest that he got the Desert Right connector, but that's going to be rough for Alaszun if he doesn't, until he sees that bow at least.
Yeah.
But you're definitely probably not feeling that too good if you're dazed, because you could have had that bow for a while, but then on the other hand, that bow really doesn't give him that much, not having the Eastern big or the Ganon's Tower big.
Exactly. I think Daze is on his way to Ice Palace now to get that lamp.
Yeah, it makes a lot of sense. It's just such a dense location left that he hasn't done any of. And meanwhile, Alaszun is finding Misery Mire, which is also a dense location. He hasn't done anything with that. Looks like he's going to do some entrances before going in, or maybe just had to think about it for a second.
Yeah, and dazedcloud will have a little bit easier time with Cold Stare having this Master Sword. Alaszun did not actually pick up the Master Sword before heading into Mire, so that's going to make this this Vitreous fight a little bit harder.
Yeah, that is a bit unfortunate because he checked the Master Sword just sitting in that other entrance right over in the Mire area.
Yep. But here we go. We're likely going to see both of these don't want to see it locations for these runners.
And they both could have the Fire Rod.
Absolutely. And they both could have the flippers. That's Quake. That is nothing of note.
Yep, we've already seen the Turtle Rock entrance. We walked out of that earlier.
Yep. So one more entrance that dazedcloud did not have access to up here on Alaszun's side. And then in a minute or two, dazedcloud will be at Cold Stare, and we'll see what Cold Stare drops.
Yeah, and then after these ones, we're going to have some rather annoying chests. Like, there's one chest in Thieves Town that's in Logic with the big key. That is Blind Cell. I don't remember where dazedcloud got that big key, but that would be Blind Cells in Logic. And then we've got the Tower of Hera 2 items. And then the Eastern has 2 items as well.
Yeah, and dazedcloud still doesn't have that Eastern Palace big key.
All right, just a compass in that cutscene chest of Misery Mire, so the dazedcloud's not going to have to go back there with the lamp.
Yeah, it's real good news for dazedcloud that there's nothing on that Firelock side.
And we'll see in a little bit if Alaszun's going to be safe for his location that he didn't get with Cold Stare.
Alaszun trying for this cheeky little rail clip, misses it the first time, gets it the second.
Yeah, and then so I'm trying to think, looking at where all these dungeons are, and trying to think where these runners could get to next. Because like Eastern Palace and Tower of Hera aren't in particularly accessible locations.
No, they're not. You have to commit to making that play.
And dazedcloud going to make his way into Cold Stare. Definitely more well-equipped than Alaszun was. Alaszun had a decent amount of hearts, but green mail plus fighter, sword, and hammer, it's never going to be an easy fight because it's 4 hearts of damage, so you can have 30 hearts, and it still can only take like 8 hits or so.
Yeah, it's Cold Stare is one of the most punishing fights in the game if you're sitting there as poorly equipped as Alaszun was. Like you either commit to doing it very, very slowly, or you take some risks and try and get it done quicker and take a very high chance of death.
All right, and this Master Sword spin doing twice as much damage and getting them grouped in the corner.
Still having a little bit of problems with this. Does have a potion in reserve.
He even has the extra blue mail to make it a lot nicer. So there we go, getting down to just the 1 puff. All right, moment of truth here. Let's see if this is going to be something important.
It is not. So we're back to breathing easy on both sides.
For now, I guess it could still be pedestal, but at least then you would know, okay, I have to go back to Cold Stare.
Right. We do have one next kind of nervous place, at least on dazedcloud side, that'd be an Eastern Palace. Also Tower of Hera basement. Another nervous. It does have the lamp now, so that's much less nervous. But Eastern Palace is kind of a nerve-wracking place until dazedcloud finds that Eastern Palace big key.
Yeah, and something interesting is that I don't think either of these runners did Spike Cave over there, did they?
No.
Oh, I guess, yeah, I keep forgetting. It's in the dark world. Okay, it's not easy to walk there.
Yeah, it's on the dark side.
You have to kind of either drop down there to get into Ice Palace. They both got Ice Palace in the light world.
Alaszun doing a mix of bombs and spins, trying to get these eyeballs taken care of. Still on green mail, still kind of danger. Now into phase 2, we'll swap out for this hammer and knock the eyeball around a bit, knock Vitreous for a loop.
And looks like dazedcloud's going to go beat the land mole. As it's not in logic from his point of view, but he's going to be able to get away with it because the right side of desert was just nothing in terms of items.
Our chat asked about Tower of Hera basement. Neither of our runners had a fire source going into Tower of Hera, so no one has checked that chest yet.
Yeah, they both had the small, but no fire source. And down goes Vitreous for Alaszun. He's going to go check that Sajral's HUD. Probably be a bit upset about finding that Master Sword in there.
And I think that Alaszun finally gets his full information.
Yeah, interestingly, he has not been checking his map because he has already gotten 1 pendant and then checked and you see the bomb drop on
the happy bomb. It's a happy bomb. He's happy.
I'm seeing a second version of Ice Rod land molus because that's just the best thing we have to beat it. It's a pretty good weapon. It's just the timing's not as good as the Fire Rod if you're used to that.
Yeah, so the projectile actually travels the same speed as the fire rod projectile. It just takes a little bit of time to wind up. So your timing is like a quarter or a half second different getting those projectiles out.
All right, let's see where Daze is heading after this.
Yeah, Alaszun finishing up checks in the minor area. He's going to see that this connector is real good.
Yeah, the connector that you want is the one that one usually goes to, the desert right connector. Oh, I thought we were about to get an hour, 30-minute Link's House check.
No. Once you've decided no, you just continue to decide no. Like, partially for stream value and partially because if something required is there, you've probably already lost.
I just wonder if it's just that you forget it, because like, yeah, I agree with that logic in like the open modes, but in like these Crosskeys modes, you can find, if it's a quick check, you can find something that you might need later, like the GT big key or some other key that doesn't help immediately. But I think it's like when you walk out of Link's house, you think, oh, I've already gotten that item. But
yeah, I've already been here, clearly.
If you hula-hand in there, then you didn't.
Is this going to be a spike cave check, or is this just traveling through connectors? This is just traveling through connectors.
Yeah, this is actually Spiral Cave. This might have been the Eastern Big.
Well, spike cave is on this side of the world, too, so thought there was a chance that this was going to be a look at the spike cave.
Yeah, I think if not for Spiral Cave, he would have done it. But now you do this, you get the Eastern Big, and then you go to Eastern.
Yep.
We'll see if he does Tower of Hera while he's over here, because it's kind of like Eastern is not easy to get to, but that looks like where he's headed. Gonna put the bow to good use to get to Eastern Palace as well, because we don't have the flippers, so I guess you could current jump as well, which maybe he'll do that instead.
Yeah, current jump is a lot lower effort than doing a Ancilla deletion here.
Yeah, I guess it depends what you're comfortable with. It does use fewer bombs, even if you do it on third try. Well, it's the same amount of bombs on second try. But yeah, nice current jump there by Daze. Going to get into the Eastern Palace. We'll get to see the big chest and Armos Knights here.
Yeah.
And from our perspective, this is pretty likely to be something, because we've got a couple of other one-offs, but this is one of the main, most dense locations left.
Yeah, this and Hera are the two like high density locations left, and that's kind of sad.
Yeah, high density being anything more than one at this point.
Exactly.
I guess if you wanted to get really cute, you could sequence break right side of GT, but you're not going to find your fire rod that way.
No, and probably not worth the effort for 4 items that are out of logic at this point.
Yeah. It would be nice to find something like the flippers over there, because then you just know that you don't have to get the fire rod. You don't have to go into Spawn Palace for the fire rod.
Well, that's something really useful. That tells us that you've opened a certain number of chests in Dark Palace, and no, it's not useful at all.
And we're seeing our other play here. Alaszun making his way over to Tower of Hera. He just saw that bow up on Spectacle Rock, but he's right in the area of Hera and can get both these chests. So we'll see if this is going to pay off. And something interesting is that that bow up there might not even be technically needed if, like, say you get the Fire Rod in Tower of Hera and then there's another bow in Turtle Rock.
Yeah, that definitely could just be the second bow, logically. Although it's early enough that I don't want to get in the minutiae of how the game determines logic and things like that, but it's probably not the second bow in the course of logic, but definitely could be the second bow available.
Yeah, because in Crosskeys it's so flat that it's hard to... Bow-locked bows are not that common. They have to be in, like, a few checks in pod, or if you get something that logically locks it. Like, I think technically... No, the Swamp Small in Hyrule Castle wasn't locked by the bow, even though the Hyrule Castle Small was, because we have the club.
Yep. So nothing in Eastern Palace. It is another crystal for dazedcloud.
We'll get to check out this big chest of Tower of Hera, which, if it's not this, then it's got to be something like Spike Cave or Blind Cell.
And it is not that, so nothing in Tower of Hera either.
Yeah, that's interesting. So, yeah, we'll have to see which one of these one-offs it ends up being.
I mean, at this point, you just head to Thieves Town and get the 3 items, right?
Yeah, just orphan that big chest. It never get punished for it. Because there's actually even more than 3 items. Because it's 3 items from Thieves Town, plus Green Pendant and Pedestal.
For dazedcloud, it is Pedestal.
Oh yeah, that's true. Cold
Alaszun's got this problem of Cold Stare not dying for him.
Yeah, that could be definitely weighing into his decision whether or not to go to Thieves. Because you could just have that Thieves Town in Spy Cave, or even more ridiculously, the Thieves Town Small could be locking itself. That is still allowed in Crosskeys.
Yes, it is. As dazedcloud's going to make his way into Skull Woods, going to do a bomb jump here to get to Mothula.
I didn't realize that it was Alaszun hadn't done Agate Tower for that Thieves Town big yet. So that might push him in that direction now, because he's much lower on stuff to check than Daze was when he got there.
First bomb jump attempt, no good for dazedcloud. Going to try it again. Gets it this time. You do that bomb jump, you light your torch, you fall in the pit, you get ported back to the bottom, and then you take care of everything else. And not that difficult of a bomb jump to pull off. Not much easier than the one in Ganon's Tower.
Yeah, absolutely. You can just line up with the wall there, and then you'll be on the right pixel and just place the bomb. The main thing is just not getting grabbed by the wall master. That one in GT is much harder on a number of levels, because not only is it harder to do the bomb jump, even if you get the bomb jump, it's harder to light all the torches in time.
Alright, what you got for us, Mothula?
Oh yeah, this is, so neither of the, I was under the impression Alaszun had already done this, but I guess he is not. So this could be something, I don't know if we don't have, it's not going to be in Logic yet, but those Skullwood Smalls could be anywhere. It's not going to be the Fire Rod though.
No, it could be the Flippers. That is a key. Another Pod Small. Which dazedcloud need. dazedcloud needed a Pod Small. That would get dazedcloud to Helm of Sword King.
Yeah, and it might even be worth it to risk just beating Helmosaur King, because you have to do that at some point, and it could just be the Flippers or Fire Rod or something, and maybe those Swamp Small or the Pod Small are hiding in some stupid location.
Yeah, and with Pod and Kakariko, you could also just check Big Key Chest, Vanilla Big Key Chest, then save scum and come back here. It doesn't take very long to get back to this location.
But yeah, it looks like with that being such a close pod location, it's a crystal you have to do. It makes a lot of sense. It's not likely to be your progression, but you have to do it anyway. And if it is your progression, it saves you a lot of time looking around for anything else.
Exactly. And dazedcloud's going to head directly to the boss.
And we're going to see an interesting chest here that is available. This Turtle Rock connector is most likely going to be something that we're not able to get to. But we've already seen this one, but we haven't seen the chest yet.
Yeah, and I actually don't think we've seen anyone come out of the front of Turtle Rock, so we'll see where this leads out to. It's probably going to be, I don't think it can be anything useful at this point.
I thought it had to be Laser Bridge. Yeah, because he said we saw it, but I didn't. If we saw it, we would have gotten the item because they've had the cane forever. But
right. I saw someone come out of the front of Turtle Rock, and this is just a compass.
We came out of the front of Turtle Rock, but we haven't come out of the Laser Bridge entrance yet. So this is almost certainly Laser Bridge. It's nothing, unfortunately, but that could have been the Fire Rod, and this could have been a required trip.
Can this technically come out at GT since it's a crystal, or no?
Not if it could, but not if we haven't seen Laser Bridge yet. Which, if we haven't seen Laser Bridge, it has to be. Yeah.
And there it is. So.
Because from Alaszun's point of view, he's looking for that bow. That's why he did that trip. It wasn't for that one item, just hoping it was the item. It was, he hasn't seen the connectors. He knows the connectors lead to a bow. So unfortunately for him, it's Desert Right that leads there, but definitely makes a lot of sense. You get a free item on the way to check what's, from his point of view, likely a 50-50 to be the bow.
Yeah, it's if you're new to Crosskeys or a little bit inexperienced in terms of racing, it is a very good idea to keep track of what connectors you've seen and haven't seen, especially when you see an item in a location that does require a connector to get there, like floating island or up on bumper ledge.
And we're finally going to get to see Spike Cave over here. This has been available for quite some time, ever since they got the Tower of Hero Big Key was in Logic.
There's a bow-locked bow. So that bow on Desert Ledge is the first bow. And there's the Fire Rod on Alaszun's side of the screen. So that is the real prize here. Fire Rod and Spike Cave.
Yeah, that's a one-off that dazedcloud's going to have to get to. I think he'll probably get there kind of soon, though, because there's just not that much left. Though it's definitely a big find for Alaszun, because that could keep him out of Thieves Town.
Yeah, and that's going to push Alaszun over to Turtle Rock, most likely.
Yeah, because dazedcloud makes a lot of sense to go over to Thieves Town. He's only got stupid one-offs left. This has one in Logic, but then also 4 other out-of-Logic ones. So you figure you'll probably find something in here.
Yeah, there's nothing saying the flippers aren't here, that's for sure.
And like, it's almost certain that there's going to be something here, but it might just be something like a pod small that's logically required, or a skullwood small. But Alaszun, I think, has a more straightforward path. You just beat Turtle Rock, do those Fire Rod lock checks pretty quickly, and then you're probably going to want to go over to right side of Ganon's Tower. Though he still has that bow that you might want to go and get, or still be on the hunt for with taking connectors.
Triumph's given Alaszun a little bit of problems here, but with Blue Mail shouldn't be too much of an issue. I don't know, with Half Magic I kind of just like slashing with Master Sword, not bothering with fighting both the menu boss and trying to get position with the hammer box hitting upright. It's kind of messy sometimes.
Yeah, and we just saw the flippers on dazedcloud's side, so that's the last piece of the puzzle, I believe. I don't think we need anything else to beat this game. They just need to both get to the places that that neither of them been to.
Yeah, and that those flippers are not technically in Logic. They're locked in behind the Thieves Town small key, like you said earlier.
But honestly, I think those flippers are actually pretty bad for dazedcloud, depending on if when Alaszun gets that bow, because like that's gonna push. You're gonna see dazedcloud beat Swamp Palace before going to Spike Cave, almost certainly.
Oh, absolutely.
That's 10 items.
That GT Big is even worse now too.
Yeah,
there's so many things. So many things are pulling dazedcloud away from Spike Cave at this point.
Yeah, I think that this Thieves Town was actually pretty bad for dazedcloud, because like Alaszun's probably going to do GT right side, and then he's going to go on a connector hunt for that bow when he finds out he doesn't get a bow there. But I don't know when dazedcloud will get back to Spike Cave.
Yeah, because there's nothing up there on Dark Death Mountain at this point other than Spike Cave. Everything else has been completed, cleared out. There's just the only reason to go over there at this point is to go to Spike Cave.
Yeah. And something interesting that chat's pointing out is that GT key is the only check in Thieves Town that's in Logic. So you could have something really silly like the big key of Thieves Town, the small key of Thieves being in the climb or something, and having that be logically required.
Oh, Randomizer.
Because I think for dazedcloud, it's pretty. You beat Swamp Palace. It's in its vanilla location. It's not hard to get to, and then you're probably going to want to do those pendant turn-ins after that, because that's like your most. They're not. I guess getting the saw is pretty bad unless you find the Midst Swamp.
Yeah, getting a saw is kind of a pain with its location in Misery Mire area, but yeah, both finding the flippers and the GT Big Key, especially having the GT Big Key in Logic, going to keep dazedcloud away from that Fire Rod to Spike Cave for a long, long time.
Yeah, because from right now, the race is just going to come down to who gets their one-up first. Is Alaszun going to walk out of Desert Right before dazedcloud gets the Fire Rod? And I just think it's more likely, since Alaszun has less stuff to do, that he'll probably end up getting his bow before dazedcloud gets the Fire Rod. But who knows?
Yeah, there's nothing that's necessarily stopping Alaszun from heading to the right side of GT. And checking the 4 chests there. There's still a Skull Woods that he's clearing right now. That has to be done. This is not time wasted. This is just a thing along the way.
And the one thing... Oh, sorry, Brady.
No, go ahead.
One thing I was going to say is that dazedcloud has a big advantage in terms of how many bosses he's cleared. Because after this, he's just going to have to find the Fire Rod and beat Tri-Knights. So that's a pretty fast goal. So he might get taken away by doing, you're going to do GT, or you might do GT Climb, actually, because he doesn't have the GT Basement available.
No, he does not.
So yeah, definitely this is an interesting race that we'll know a lot more about once either of these runners gets to the one thing they need. And Mothula being a bit mean for Alaszun, but luckily when you have blue mail and that many hearts, you can just do damage boost hammer strats and get him out of the way.
Yeah, just getting bullied a bit, but does get that crystal done. How much weight do you put into... We found those flippers behind the Thieves Town small key. And how much weight do you put into, like, doing a location that is out of the way but has been in logic for an hour, like Spike Cave is, versus some of the other things that are not necessarily in logic based on the finding the flippers now?
Yeah, it's always interesting, and I think that it's always efficiency is the name of the game with Crosskeys, and so the climb, it takes so long for just the 5 items today. That's, I guess, the one thing that might keep me away from it, but at the same time, it's 5 items to Spike Caves with 1. And you can still follow the flippers otherwise. And yeah, that the GT Big being in logic makes me think, okay, the Thieves Town Small has a good chance of just being in the climb. So I might still want to follow the flippers to something like Hobo. And there's also always the very rare chance that the Thieves Town Small is just in the big chest.
Indeed.
All right, so Alaszun's making his way over to Desert Palace, which we know that's exactly where he needs to go. So the clock's really ticking, I think, for dazedcloud, because for Alaszun, he's going to get this bow, and then you beat Pod and Eastern for sure. You're not going to get what you need, but then after that, you just got stuff like Ganon's Tower and the Thieves Town. So he'll probably do the right side of GT first, but that's not that long, and then he won't ever think about doing the climb because flippers will be go mode.
Exactly. dazedcloud going to head back in and finish clearing out Swamp. I just remember there's something that makes these flippers even worse.
What is that?
That's that book sitting in Lake Hylia.
Yeah, I mean, the one thing that's good about the book is that may lead Daze to take the connector to the top of the mountain, which is where, because it's not actually that terrible to get to Spike Cave. You just got to go through the Spectacle Rock connector, but it's not quick either.
Yeah, there's like 3 different connectors that take you onto the Death Mountain where you need to go. It's actually pretty convenient this seed, whereas in some seeds it is a true mess getting over there.
And maybe the mitts even would help him, because then you can just take the Paradox connector and lift up the glove. But we still have, those mitts have still not shown up to see.
Yeah, I would suspect those mitts are probably upstairs in GT.
Would make a lot of sense.
Alaszun's going to head over and do a couple different Incilla fake flippers.
Yeah, because you don't want to try to fake flipper past those bombers, so it makes a lot of sense. Because those bombers, that's the most dangerous screen to be fake flippering on, in my opinion.
Oh, the other most dangerous thing about fake flipping is actually trying to get into one of those whirlpools.
Yeah, he was trying to make his way to Eastern.
Yep.
But yeah, those whirlpools, he just missed a little bit. So he can. It's not too bad. He can just take the walk over here, but you would have liked to. That was a nice fast route that he had that just wasn't able to work. And we'll get to see what's over here on left-hand side. It's going to be hard to think it's anything that would help the dazedcloud. Maybe you get the mitts that lead you to doing Spike Cave a little quicker, because then it's a quick one-off check that you do before the climb, and they're very pleasantly surprised with, but we'll see.
Heart container. How about a heart container? Is that going to do it for you? Probably not.
Nah.
And
the other thing that Daze has got to be thinking about is that left side of Mire, because that's 2 items versus the climb's 5. They're a lot quicker, but at the same time, you fall into like, okay, if my opponent just got those earlier, they're going to beat me.
Yeah.
Especially since it's just Fire Rod that he's looking for, because then you're like, okay, if Fire Rod is locked by the lamp in the left side of Mire, then that's going to be a really tough one for me to come back from.
Yeah, at that point, I'm just packing it in.
But yeah, you're right. Daze is thinking about that book.
Yeah, Days to open this book will tell him where this fire rod's at, or at least lead him to it. Also going to check the man under the bridge and collect half magic finally.
Yeah, but nice find, but at this point, it's not really going to be helpful.
No, with Silver's magic management not going to be a big deal in the Ganon fight. Will help make the Trinex fight a little more pleasant, but that's about the only place where it's going to be of any real use.
Yeah, for sure, especially if he doesn't find Tempered along the way on these checks. Alright, so we're going to see a Bombos tablet check here on Dave's side.
Yeah, no, there's going to be nothing here that leads. It could be the mitts. Like, at this point...
Well, the one thing that could is that the fact that the Spectacle Rock entrance is right over there.
Yeah.
Okay, that Skullwoods is good, because a GT Small would actually be a red herring for dazedcloud, because that would put the full climb into logic rather than just the first 3.
Yeah, because not only does the climb represent those 4 items, there's also the mystery item that's sitting in the pyramid that we won't get to see today, but can be on the runner's mind at this point.
Yeah, and these runners will know better than us, because they've probably been tracking their item entrances to know if that's even worth considering.
Well, it's the item drop down, like that mystery item.
Oh, sorry, I thought you meant the pyramid interior.
No, and Red Mail is on pedestal. We're not going to get blind pull today from dazedcloud's side. No stream value.
And it looks like he's headed over to the Dark World. Trying to think of what's over in this area that he can get.
I don't know if he's Skullwood's big.
Ah, yeah, that's available. Because you can do Skullwood's big into mirroring over into Tower of Hera, though I guess there might be something over in the Dark World that I'm forgetting. Just going back into Desert. Or maybe he hasn't seen the big chest yet.
That can be the only thing I can think of at this point. No, taking a connector of some sort.
Oh, he's going to go to the Mire area. So this is a green pendant turn in at the very least. Though maybe he did. Maybe it's both, and he just realized he didn't do the big chest either.
Chat reminding us that no, there still is no Desert Small.
Nope, never check Link's house.
You got it now, right?
I think he's just forgotten about it. And
He has to have forgotten about it.
He walked out of there earlier. You're like, you gotta. I think that if you're a sanctuary router, though, you gotta be used to walking back into Link's house for the chest.
Yeah, it's gonna be green pen to turn in Sarasala, and then
let's see if it's a sword hoarding Sahasrahla with yet another sword in here.
Sometimes you just really like swords. Nope, just a big 20.
And Alaszun in the Helmasaur fight gonna find that funny little bow-locked bow.
The other 2 checks in Meyer as well for dazedcloud here. So after this dazedcloud will have 4 checks in GT that are in logic, and Spike Cave.
3, right?
Big chest as well.
Oh, yep, you're right. That's not one that you want to get to.
Nope. Don't like that. That's for sure.
And it makes a lot of sense because this is 3 items over here. The climb is 3 items plus the big chest, and those are a lot longer to check.
Yep. And Daze still has 2 items in hair as well. Meanwhile, we're going to get a right side GT check from Alaszun, looking for those flippers.
Yeah, it definitely makes a lot of sense. It's 4 relatively quick checks to do before going into Thieves Town, which is going to be, especially if you find the Thieves Town small, which could just be over here. And it's still kind of interesting that we haven't found any swords yet, because, yeah, the climb's still out there, but the climb's only 5 items. It shouldn't have both swords, right?
Shouldn't, but sometimes Rando delivers.
There's one of them.
One sword there for Alaszun in the right side of GT.
So that is a sword that dazedcloud is not going to get.
And there's one of our pod smalls to put that dungeon fully in logic. Could be, and there's a couple places in pod that last sword could be too.
Yep. All right, dazedcloud now has the bad news that going back here wasn't needed. Thieves Town is in Light Shopping Mall. It's in the entrance to the right of, well, actually, it's either the entrance to the right of Ice Rod or the Rock. I couldn't remember which one.
They're all the same entrance, really.
Yeah. One of them's a Smith, the other one's Thieves Town, the other one's garbage.
Aren't we glad we didn't have to turn in a Smith today?
Yep, those mitts just never showed up. They'd have to be in the climb or in one of those pod chests at this point, right?
Yeah, or sitting in like Thief Town Big Chest or something.
Yeah, GT Big Chest.
Oh, right. Alaszun is gonna take on Cold Stare.
Ooh, this is a tough one. It's definitely understandable, but this is a good opportunity for dazedcloud because I think that Alaszun was probably ahead if he went right into Thieves Town.
Yeah, absolutely. I think that's our last pod small that we found. Not sure where this K was at for days. Also finds powder, not going to be relevant. Yeah, I don't think that location has not been checked by the runner yet. The upgrade fairy.
Yep. Yeah, and that powder is still, luckily, the Castle Tower Small Keys hide and seek game, it's sometimes annoying, but when it's blocking powder, it's nice, because then you just don't have to check that.
Yeah, I'm guessing from dazedcloud side this is going to be a GT climb now.
Yeah, absolutely. Spike Cave is 2 out of the way, and it's just 1 check versus you don't have all of the checks in logic, but you could have a GT big have a small key. You could have a small key in the climb. You could have Spike Cave have a small key. There's a bunch of places that GT small could be. So
exactly.
You can just kind of consider this to be 5 items in logic. But yeah, this is interesting. I wasn't expecting Alaszun to go to Ice Palace. That makes this, because once Daze got into the climb, if Alaszun had gone right to Thieves Town, I think he's going to win that for sure. But now there's definitely still, both these runners are still in it for sure.
Yeah, this kind of makes like the smallest bit of sense on Alaszun's side. You want to have all 3 pendants when you get done with Thieves Town.
No, it still makes sense. It's just I was a bit surprised.
Yeah. And of the 2 dungeons, Ice Palace is a little bit harder to get to than Thieves Town.
Because I think Dazed has Tower of Hera.
Yeah.
And I'm not sure what else.
I don't think there's anything else for dazedcloud at this point, other than Tower of Hera and Spike Cave.
And obviously Link's house.
Oh, Daze also has first chest of TR.
Oh yeah, that's true. And Ether Tablet. And yeah, he can pair Ether Tablet and Spike, but it's kind of an annoying pairing because you have to go into the dark world through the Spectacle Rock thing and then walk over to Hera and then walk back. And he's making his way through the climb really quick, so that's definitely something he's got going for him.
Yeah, this has been a really efficient climb from dazedcloud.
And Alaszun made it through Ice Palace very fast that second time. Headed over, I'm not entirely sure. I think he's going to maybe the Myrie again. Oh no, he's going to Skullwoods again.
Yeah, I'm not sure if there's any. I guess we saw that Mini Moldorn Cave is still off the radar for Alaszun because it's sitting in the middle of Lake Hylia, and going to check this entrance, hoping it's that 5-item cave. Also has Mesa also have Skullwood's big chest to look at.
Yeah.
And you also get to look at the pedestal while you're here. Which, there's not enough things left to really deprioritize these towns, seeing that the pedestal is only going to be armor. But does make it, if it does show up that the flippers are there, then you just rush the boss.
Yeah. Get the nice go mode of Thieves Town and save 5 seconds.
Yeah. Just upgrade for area in behind the Skullwoods entrance.
So there's our last pod smallet, I believe, in the climb. We'll see if the funny thing about the in-logic GT big in Blind Cell leading to a Thief Town smallet climb happens.
Oh, Alaszun couldn't even look at the pedestal because he doesn't have a book. We're off to Thieves Town.
Yeah, and there is that Thieves Town small key in the climb, so this game was expecting you to get that big key in Blind Cell and then leave and climb up the climb.
I disagree with that theory entirely, game.
Yeah, I don't think anyone's going to do that. But Alaszun has made his way where he needs to. He's in Thieves Town, so dazedcloud would have to immediately rush Spike to still have a chance here after this.
Yeah, because both our runners will have 1 crystal left.
Yes, it will be 2 pretty fast dungeons, with Alaszun needing to beat Swamp Palace and dazedcloud needing to beat Trinex. Which Trinex, it's just going through Laser Bridge. You don't even have to beat Turtle Rock. You just go in for a brief tour of Turtle Rock and then just kill Trinex. Yeah,
the Laser Bridge entrance is very accessible this seed, so I think on the whole that will be a little bit faster than going through Swamp, but it's going to take a while to get to Spike Cave for dazedcloud, even if it's the very next place he heads.
I mean, the one good thing is that he could immediately mirror after checking the pyramid and go into that entrance to Spectacle Rock to Spike Cave. But it's going to have to be quick.
Bit of a clunky fight with Aghanim 2 there.
And Alaszun, having gotten those flippers, just mirrors out immediately. He knows he's in go mode. He has silvers and tempered and a bunch of hearts. There's nothing else you're really looking for here.
No, nothing standing its way in this very convenient old man entrance if you're heading to Swamp.
So if there's a sword here in Lumberjack, though, and dazedcloud immediately mirrors, this is still going to be close.
It's just 20 rupees. Just 20 rupees. Doesn't save and quit, though. Maybe he's gotten the idea that he wants to head to Spike Cave right now, and then there's a good entrance to do it from here. Or not.
Nope, going somewhere else. So, I'm not entirely sure. This is where Eastern Palace is. Oh, did he not turn in the mushroom yet?
He turned in the mushroom. He turned in the mushroom.
This is front of Turtle Rock.
This is the front of Turtle Rock check, and that's going to seal the deal for most likelihoods.
Yeah, I think it does give dazedcloud a chance to get his go mode before Alaszun clears, because you get spit out of Laser Bridge, you mirror and you jump down to Spike Cave. Or no, you can't. Sorry, it's in the Dark World.
Yep.
So yeah, this is definitely looking like Alaszun's race to lose at this point. And really, I think it just came down to that Thieves Town. If that Thieves Town had anything other than the GT Big in the basement, like even with the full clear of Swamp, dazedcloud's still in a really good position because he just doesn't do the climb and does all these other checks and eventually gets to Spike Cave.
Yeah, I agree. It's really just unfortunate how it's turned out that GT Big Key was in logic, and it's kind of taken dazedcloud into a just kind of a mess of a route here at the end.
Yeah, it's kind of interesting how these cross keys, it can oftentimes depend on what order you get your go mode. Not even like what order you get your items, not necessarily how quick you get them, because having gotten the fire rod there meant that Alaszun knew he's just going to get to go mode Swamp as soon as he finds those flippers.
Yeah, and speaking of Alaszun, already through phase 1 of Argus, 2 fire rod shots to spin takes that care of, and that's crystal number 7 for Alaszun.
And this is going to be Thieves Town Big Chest over here from dazedcloud. So we'll get to see if maybe that's the mitts today, because those still haven't showed up, but definitely not going to be the fire rod he's looking for.
I mean, I hope it's not the mitts.
And I can get behind this for dazedcloud, because you're leaning into you did the climb already. So
you're not going to win. You're not going to win at this point if it's in Spike Cave or some of the locations that's been accessible for like Hera. Like this is the only winning route that dazedcloud has at this point. It's just not the winning route for this seed.
Yep. So Alaszun's dropping right into Ganon. Got the Temperance Sword, Silver Arrows, 18 hearts, blue mail. Should be a pretty straightforward fight.
Yeah, free as you want, as often would be. Does get the 1-in-1, but does have this cape out to do some quick slashing.
And that was a nice red boomerang strat for that switch by dazedcloud to get to the big chest pretty quickly. Already into phase 3 on Ganon and Alaszun's side. Oh god, now.
Oh no! Oh no!
And I think you gotta just keep following that play if you're.
Yep, you absolutely do.
Play to the seed that you can win when you're this late. Time for phase 4 Ganon. Should be straightforward. Not worrying about missing the torch glitch at all.
I had to worry a little bit not getting those torches lit quick enough to know where that fire bat was coming from, but does avoid taking a fall, which is the most important part. Getting some unfavorable spawn locations. Not able to get some doubles off, but we'll get shot number 4 in, and one bridge away from picking up a game 1 victory here. Get those GGs ready in chat.
Yeah, this was definitely an interesting seed and a great race from these runners, so good games here.
Absolutely. And GG's to Alaszun, picking up the win here in game 1 of this round of 16 matchup with an official time of 2 hours, 11 minutes, and 55 seconds. GG's once again to Alaszun on a good effort in a very, very interesting race.
Yeah, absolutely. This could have definitely gone either way. It just came down to some key decisions at the end. Because we had a whole open seed really early, and these runners took a little bit of different paths, got a little bit of different items, but then it just came down to flippers versus fire rod, and the flippers really led you down a rabbit hole with the GT big key as well, and the fire rod did not.
Yeah, one of those flip a coin and a little weighted in one direction over the other, and unfortunately the direction was weighted for kind of burned dazedcloud today.
Oh God!
And joining us in here in chat to celebrate his Game 1 victory, Alaszun, welcome in.
Thank you. That was not well played by me. I assume he got bit by the fire rod?
Yeah, he's still hunting for the fire rod. dazedcloud did not end up going to Spike Cave. What you didn't see in Thieves Town is that the chest that was in Logic with just the big key was the GT big.
Okay, so I almost got too smart for myself there, and it probably wouldn't have mattered, but I almost went, there's only one chest actually in Logic here, I'm going to skip the attic and go straight to that, because how do you feel good about having played like that?
Yeah,
I probably would have gone to the attic anyway. I'm going to guess it was on the GT climb.
Yeah.
Yes.
Yeah, when I got that fire rod, I thought I might have a chance, especially when I did all the fire rod lock stuff and it didn't actually lock anything. Because that was in a terrible spot. Because it felt really, really likely to me that you check that early before you not just had the moon purple, but you have anything to be able to do Spike Cave. But yeah, the only reason I actually didn't and I actually went upstairs is because I thought for a second and went, wait a minute. You know what's possible? That Thieves Town small key could either be in Blind Cell or just in the big chest. I know we've had at least one seed this tournament where someone had the e-locked or self-locked Thieves Town small key. And so I just said, don't be dumb, don't make more mistakes than you've already made. Flippers was an incredible go mode item in this seed.
Yeah, absolutely. Because the way this scene was really playing out is that dazedcloud got to that bow a lot earlier, so he was able to go out and clear bosses while you were kind of just exploring the overworld. And then by the time you got to that bow, it was you had the fire out already, and Daze had gotten the flippers, and then got kind of led astray by the GT big.
Yeah, I can see that. And I mean, I had the advantage of last locating back of Thieves Town, so I would have known from that GT big key, even if I had gotten it, I would have known okay, either this locks the flippers or the Thieves Town small is just going to be big key locked. And honestly, I had absolutely no desire to go back to GT. I had absolutely no desire to do anything in this seed at this point. Yeah. I mean, it goes like that sometimes. I definitely almost wanted to forfeit, though, after I got to Saha's hut.
Oh, yeah.
I think I actually wanted to start crying.
After doing Vitreous with the Fighter Sword and then finding Master Sword and Blue Mail in Saw's hut.
Yep.
Yeah, because you actually went into Misery Mire and then backed out and then went back in. We thought you were going to check other entrances first and then head in there, and you just immediately pirouetted.
So normally the way I would have checked that is I would have checked Dark Agina, then gone to Checkerboard, and that would have been the end of that route in Mire. But because I had seen the connector over there, and because I was still missing Turtle Rock Bridge, I was still missing Bumper Cave.
Yeah, and it makes sense that you were still looking for connectors at that point. And it's just really unfortunate how that ended up playing out.
And then I'm like, you know what? No, this is dumb. Nothing's gonna be there. You're just overreacting to the fact that you did a stupid cold stare death.
Yeah, we're wondering how much that cold stare death weighed on you. There was a point in this race about 45 minutes before we got done here, where you had Cold Stare still on your map that you had died in, and dazedcloud had the left side of Mire. Because when he went to Mire, he did not have that lamp yet.
Yeah, I was really hoping for left side of Mire. And then it was nothing, because I'm like, well, it's really easy to get here, because all you have to do is play Vu in a different order than I did,
Right.
to make it very, very easy to just say, hey, I'm going to go through these connectors, which sucks, because I'm assuming they locked the mid somewhere too, or that stuff ended up blocking the mid somewhere too. And I just kind of, like, there were so many valuable entrances left. Like, I don't know if you guys were, I entrance track. So this is what I still have listed. I have Sick Kid, Library, Mini Moldorm Cave, King's Tomb, Pyramid Fairy, and I think that's it for, like, overworld entrances. But that's, like, 10 items of entrances just sitting in the overworld. And every spot I checked was garbage.
Yeah.
Yeah, we saw Storm Cave. That was in the Upgrade Fairy. And I think we saw Pyramid Fairy as well on dazedcloud side.
Yeah, speaking of dazedcloud copping in here did put a forfeit in the race and joining us here in chat. GG's you. Unfortunate how this one ended up turning out in the end, but
I imagine it was both of us just looking furiously for the stupid fire rod and him finding it. No? What did you miss, bud?
Flippers was my go mode.
Ah, okay. Yeah, that's what
I clung to logic with, like, a white-knuckled fervor at the end of that seed. Because I'm sitting, I'm like, I'm bow, fire rod, flippers from go mode.
Mm-hmm.
I had seen the bow on Bumper Cave, and so I kind of was just like, alright, fire rod or flippers, either I get to skip all the flipper lock stuff in the game, which is amazing, and I'm sitting there, I'm like, I don't have a Thieves Town small key, like, that's one chest in logic, I really don't want to go back there. You almost missed the 3-head of the century, though.
Oh,
which is, I almost skipped Thieves Town Attic to be like, there's only one chest in logic. I'm just gonna go straight to the base.
That would have been amazing.
Really glad I didn't, because I might have started crying, but...
Oh, man, so, like, yeah, I had nothing left, too. Like, I heard you listing stuff off at the end there, and I'm like, I have nothing left. So, like, I didn't want to climb GT, because I didn't think anything was up there. I figured when I climbed GT, I was going to find a bunch of keys to, like, put Pod into logic and probably put Thieves Town into logic, and I figured that's what was going to be up there. So I was trying not to. I was really trying not to, and I almost went to Spike Cave early, and it looks like if I had went to Spike Cave at the moment that instead of going to GT, I probably would have won this, because I think I would have been in a Spike Cave around, like, the 2-hour mark. Instead, I was like, I was there.
It would have been very close. It would have been real close.
I had Fire Rod before the 2-hour mark for sure. Like, I would have been there earlier than you. I ended up doing... When did I end up doing? I ended up doing Spike Cave when I got spat out the connector that went to Laser Bridge. I mirrored and jumped down and went in Hyrule Castle. This is the only play the entire seed I felt good about, by the way.
Yeah, it was a rough one.
Like, literally the only thing I felt good about the entire time was as my fiance walks in and closes the window, since I'm assuming she can hear me through... Oh, apparently all the way from the park next door. Okay.
Wow, thanks.
I have a loud voice. And it was the only routing thing I actually felt good about, because I'm like, you know what, I'm here. I had already died to Cold Stare, which had put me in a terrible, terrible mood for the entire seed. And then I'm like, well, you know what? Like, I actually did Cold Stare right before I went back to Thieves Town. That was my second to last location.
Oh, wow. Well, you needed... That was your lamp there. Okay, so that explains...
No, I had my lamp. I had my lamp already.
You had the lamp. Okay,
I had my lamp. I died to Cold Stare. Lamp was in, I want to say, Iced Tea. But yeah, and so I just kind of did that loop around to get spit back up at Total Rock. And I'm like, okay, well, now I can just jump down and do Spike Cave. Literally the only play I felt good about the entire seed.
Yeah, no, I get you. Like, in my head, like, I ended up going to like at one point I went back, like took this really strange route to go back up to like the floating island because I wanted to. I was in my head. I was going to do Spike Cave, but then I'm up there and I'm like, Spiral's right here too. It kicks me right out back down at the bottom here, and so Spiral has the eastern big, right? So the moment I get that, I'm just like, screw that other plan. So I ran all the way back to eastern there, and then I just never went back to Spike Cave, and yeah. So, but I cleared all of Swamp. I cleared everything else. I at the end there when I finished when I beat Agate 2 and I realized you still weren't done. I'm kind of like, it's gonna be somewhere awful. So I started kind of like taking wild shots. Like
I mean, to be fair, like Spike Cave was really awful, and like it was really badly placed because it was almost guaranteed to be set up that you're not gonna find that when you can actually do it.
Yeah, true.
It's
like I found
conceivable you could have found it. Yeah, I did too. Like that was my first sequence of the seed was I Houlihan went to castle, and then I literally bomb jumped that, checked Agina, went back, and jumped down Spectrum. Like if you open a castle, you're set up to orphan Spike Cave really badly. Yeah.
And I mean, you did have the save and quit out of the old man out of the back there, so like there was so many opportunities to go do it. You know?
I actually forgot about that until I want to say like 30 seconds before I found my, or like 2 minutes before I found my bow. I'm only missing, like, the only connector I haven't done is Desert Right, but there's 2 spots I need to be connected to. What am I missing? And then I did a save and quit that started Old Man, and I like actually put it together at that point. But yeah, not an A effort or not an A execution for me today.
I felt like honestly at the beginning it was going so well, and at one point I want to say I was about like an hour and 30 minutes in. I had checked almost everything. I'm looking down and I'm like, I need flippers and I need fire rod. And then I just never found him. And so what are you going to do? You know?
Yeah. I mean, I had a giant lull of just like, well, I have literally everything I need to beat everything except for, you know,
the things. Yeah.
The actual items.
Yeah. Chat wants to know, and we want to know, dazedcloud, what's in Link's house?
Seriously, did I do that?
You did that.
Yeah, you walked out with the Houlihan, but never went back in.
I started at Link's house like 17 times too. That's amazing.
If it makes you feel better, there was a qualifier for the tournament last year where I got my mitts in Link's house.
Oh my god, that's amazing. What was it? It's junk, right?
It's a desert. It's a desert palace small, which did not lead to anything.
Oh, you never found the desert small. Okay.
God, I was wondering where the hell that thing was too.
Yeah, I literally full cleared the front of desert the first time I found it.
Oh, I am gonna catch hell for that from my stream. Oh my god.
Really good.
Oh my god. Oh no. Oh wow. Okay. Well, yep, that's me.
Good news is you got a chance to redeem yourself. There's a game 2 coming up between you two. And I don't know if you guys have that scheduled yet or not. But
we do not.
Nah, we'll figure that out probably here in like 10 minutes or something.
Yeah, honestly, that's probably what we will both do after we finish. To be like, hey, when do you want to play?
Yeah.
But yeah, no eliminations yet. This is a best of 3 series. You got a chance to dust yourself off and try and get this out to a game 3.
Yeah. I hope that one was close. So we'll see. I'll have to go back and watch that just to yell at myself every single time I walk by Spike Cave.
Yeah,
If you enjoy watching me suffer, watch me do Misery Mire before I check Sahasrala's hut.
Ooh.
Yeah, that's.
Walk into the next entrance. And if I had a face cam, you would have just, like, seen me slam my head into my desk. I'm actually half surprised it didn't crack.
It was a very close race, up until the point where honestly, up until the point where Alaszun found those flippers, it was very much anyone's race, and until one of you found the item you were missing. So hopefully we'll get another good race in game 2.
Yeah, honestly, if flippers lock nothing in this seed and fire rod locks all that shit, like, you win this race. Like,
yeah, it's like
you know.
you guys both, like, I think Days pick up the flippers at about the same time. You pick up the fire rod, Alaszun. So from our point of view, that was our no mode. So we're just looking, okay, you still had to get the bow, Alaszun, but we're like, oh, who's going to get to their bad location first? Because we figured that you would get the bow relatively quick and then finish all the dungeons and eventually make your way to Thieves Town. Whereas that big key really just turned it, because then dazedcloud would have gotten to Spike Cave at some point, because he only had like Tower of Hera and some other one-offs left, and the mid-mire left side. So it was always, we were definitely, it was really close, because it just, who's going to make it to their item first?
Also, because I haven't whined about just how absolute shit this was, that Dark Death Mountain with bombos, with Spiral Cave on the top, and Spike Cave on the bottom, both hard required to beat the seed, is actually evil.
Yep, I agree completely.
That was really why I thought Spike Cave was in such a bad spot, because it was so easy to miss one of those two things.
Oh well.
Yeah, you come back with your glove and your mirror, and you're able to do stuff on the top of Death Mountain, and then you think you'll do Spike Cave at the end, but then you find Spiral Cave, and you're like, oh, that's just what Spiral Cave does to you whenever you find it.
Yeah. Anyways, is there any more questions for either of the two runners?
I'll just say thank you to you guys for getting everything together.
Absolutely.
And see you game 2, Alaszun.
Yeah, GG's, Ben. It's always a good fight with you.
Yep.
Yeah, huge shout out to all of our volunteers for this. The trackers, picks, and I'm gonna butcher this name, Sammy Muss, I guess. The comms with Dane and James FNX, and obviously huge shout outs to the runners. Without them, we can't actually have these events. And with that, coming up on ZSR tomorrow, there is a lot more Crosskeys. Lin versus Julo Ninja is tomorrow morning. There is Shupel versus Goomba tomorrow, Wall Kicks versus T-Stew, so plenty of Crosskeys coming up, and I'm sure I'm reading your name in Discord, Alaszun and Days are going to schedule soon, so that will be up there too. And with that, I think I'm going to be raiding Homemade Beer, who's practicing some sort of Randomizer, so and we'll see everyone next time. Later.